And
Always know you can to us.
I know, and I appreciate it.
You could pick up the phone at 2 p.m, Rick. Okay, please know that.
All right, thank you.
You could call us during a Blades game when something doesn't work. Whatever
David,
you need.
I almost texted you during the Nebraska game yesterday saying, David, I feel so relieved for you. I know how stressed you were about that. I was like, man, I was happy for you. Unfortunately for me, I put just a few shekels on whoever they were playing. Now I can brain farting, but Troy. But it was like 13.5.
Yeah, and they just blew their doors off.
They did. And I thought, well, Nebraska is going to win, but 13.5, that's crazy.
That foul at the end
of the first half.
And I looked at it, and when he wasn't shooting, I thought they'd take, because they weren't in the bonus. I'm like, okay, let's inbound it with 1.7. They're not going to score, and I'll be damned, they give him 2 shots. I'm like, oh, come on. Big Ten doing Big Ten things again, Ryan.
Oh,
Ohio State goes down. Wisconsin goes down. Yes, Dano. Victory for MSU. And more importantly, victory for the Red Wings. Who's kidding who? Montreal was like 24-2 when leading after 2. And
hey, I'll shoot you guys a text real quick a few minutes in and just let you know if we're on here or not once the live starts.
Sounds good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this basketball-crazed Friday. Hope your week's gone well. How's your brackets looking, huh? How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. How are you, Mark? How's your brackets looking?
Terrible. You know, I had BYU going to the Elite Eight, and they got bounced by Texas. My hope now is that Texas does what I had BYU doing, because no one will have them in that slot, but I don't care. You know, yeah, we'd like to be right, and I hope I get the last game right. But a guy yesterday scored a 2-point bucket, a big 2-point bucket, a layup. He had attempted 4 2-point buckets all year, and he missed all 4.
Correct.
So what happens in the tournament? He scores his first 2-point bucket of the year to lead his team to the biggest upset of the day. We're talking about High Point, the kid Johnson, who was a 3-point shooter. First off, he thinks he's Gretzky. He's wearing 99. What the hell is going on with that? And he gets the biggest bucket of the day to knock off Wisconsin. Just when we thought the little guy couldn't do it anymore, down goes Bucky Badger.
Chase Johnston is his name. He has enrolled in 4 different colleges. He graduated high school 7 years ago. I mean, this, Mark, is the perfect poster child for where we are in college sports, because his freshman year was, I believe, at IPFW in the fall of 2019. He doesn't play in the 2019-20 season, which is okay because everybody got a COVID year anyway. He goes to Stetson in the A-Sun for 2 years in DeLand, Florida. He's all freshman team. He then transfers to FGCU. He plays 2 years with the Eagles. His second year cut short by injury, only played 7 or 9 games. Okay, so then it's like, okay, how much eligibility does he have left? And then he goes to High Point. So a year at IPFW, 2 at Stetson, 2 at FGCU, and then 2 at High Point.
Normally, at this point of a collegiate career, you'd have a PhD. I'm not sure he has a degree.
I think he does. Okay. And, whether it's a master's or whatever, that he's going to walk across stage here soon, if he hasn't already. But Chase Johnston graduated high school 7 years ago in Fort Lauderdale. I will say, when they were down 8 with just under 5 minutes to go, and that guard comes down and he's not within 5 feet of the 3-point line, and he passes it back to Johnston, who just catches and shoots. And I mean, Caitlin Clark and Steph Curry went, whoa, that's deep. And he buried it. And they were still down 5. But it was such a remarkable shot that you thought to yourself, oh, this could happen.
It did happen. But in doing so, he scores his only 2-point bucket of the year. He had only attempted 4.
Right.
4.
Right.
I mean, think about that over the course of a season, David. You don't get a layup. You don't get a breakaway. Nothing.
Nope. But sure enough, he does a little, you and I are hockey guys. He was goal hanging. He was goal hanging at the end. And they got the ball, and they just saw him, and they threw it out.
He saw the block, or he saw the defense and got a couple steps behind the last defender. They hit him, and he lays it in, and it gets High Point the win. Then later in the day, you've got Sienna, who gave Duke one hell of a scare.
With only 5 healthy scholarship players.
Right.
People giving Jerry McNamara a hard time. Oh, he didn't rest anybody. No wonder they tired. He didn't have a scholarship player to put in the game. You're playing Duke.
And it's not a great Duke team with the injuries they have, but it's still
Come on now.
Duke.
You can't put a kid in from intramurals on the floor against Duke. Come on.
And they ran out of gas, but they gave the Blue Devils a hell of a run. And then how many? And again, a lot of people had this. Miller and Moulton had this, but North Carolina was up by how many?
Oh, Mark, that would be 19.
19.
Yes. And with like 6 minutes to go, I think they were up 14.
David, so much so that during the 7 o'clock window, I didn't think we had a game. I'm flipping back and forth, and the pain of streaming is I'm flipping back forth between YouTube TV and ESPN Plus because my hockey team had a big game going on, and no one cares. But I'm going back, and I'm like, and I'm checking the phone, and I'm like, oh boy, time to go back to basketball.
Yeah.
And VCU able to defend late, force overtime, and then it was a slog in overtime for the first 3 or so minutes.
Yeah, those 2 teams were tired.
They were.
Tired legs. All the shots were short. Yeah, they were tired.
But VCU in overtime takes down a Blue Bud. And again, Caleb I always say Williams. It's not Williams. It's Caleb Wilson for North Carolina.
Right.
Is out. I messed the name up to my wife 6 times last night, but their best player's out, but it doesn't matter. It's still North Carolina.
Right.
Goes down.
Right. And more heat now on Hubert Davis. because the stat is North Carolina only twice in their history has lost the game in the NCAA tournament when they had a 10-plus point lead at halftime. Both of them under Hubert Davis. First one was for the Natty against Kansas, and the second one was last night.
You called a couple of games, David, I will give you credit for. One, Texas with a nice win, handled BYU, killing my bracket early. But you called it, and Texas played well right from the get-go. It was close a couple of times, but Texas kind of arm-barred, kind of a little brother game, if you will, in the backyard. They kind of held them at arm's length throughout. But the other one, and you said it yesterday on the show, and yes, they did win last night. But Gonzaga, you called them the most overrated team in the tournament. Well, Kennesaw State gave them a game.
Sure did.
They gave them a game. So we'll see what happens between Texas and the Zags in the next round. But boy, oh boy, Gonzaga didn't look like the Gonzaga teams we've seen of the past few years.
And by the way, let's remember this next year. Let's just take how the teams have finished in the 4 to 6 weeks leading up to the tournament and maybe just take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Okay. And I'm not just talking about how South Florida played against Louisville. All right. I'm talking about all the analytics that said Georgia was a top 30 team in the country the last month of the season, and all the analytics that said St. Louis had peaked and was about 130th best team in the country the last month of the season.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Triple digits for the Billikens as they blow the Dogs out of the gym.
Yes. Early, often.
Bingo.
Bye-bye, so long, farewell. Yes.
You got it, David. You've got it.
Yep.
I was thinking the same, and I didn't stay up for all the 10 o'clock games. I didn't. Fortunately, I mean, for me, other than the Gonzaga game, there really wasn't much of a game going on in that window. And I just, as I looked at the scores for one last time before my head hit the pillow, I went, oh yeah, 130 St. Louis, huh? Okay, sure.
Right. Uh-huh.
So a pretty damn good day to get us started in the tournament. We got an upset. So. We got a great comeback. We got what really, even though if you like Duke, I don't understand it. I think it says something about you, and I'm sorry to those of you that are Duke fans out there, including my wife. But you want the blue blood to win at the end of the day. You want them scared, and you want them to move on. It would have been great, though, if Siena with 5 guys would have beaten the Blue Devils. Holy cow, would that have been great.
Oh, my goodness. We would have been debating where does it rank between FDU and UMBC and Siena. And not only that, okay, when they're up 11 at the half, I'm like, so where's the new Syracuse AD? Have they shown up yet? They're going to have that contract ready for when the game's over? Hey, former Syracuse star was on their national championship team, was on a Big East title tournament team. Okay, you're debating whether to offer him the job. He's up 11 on Duke at the half. He's coaching Siena.
And I felt bad for the Bulls. You know, they played poorly.
Yeah.
I think it's as much on them as it is Louisville playing well. At one point, they were 1 of 19 from beyond the arc. 1 of 19. Who are you going to beat shooting 1 of 19 from beyond the arc? You're not winning basketball games. And I don't think a lot of that was great defense by Louisville. I think they got the shots they wanted. They just didn't go in.
Yeah.
And they made a second half run, made it competitive, but they came up short.
Listen, Louisville played really well. They shot over 50% from inside the arc and from over 50% from outside the arc. They out-rebounded South Florida. They absolutely deserved the win. They outplayed them. But, yeah, South Florida for 30 of the 40 minutes of that game couldn't put the ball in the ocean if they were standing in it. And tough to win. Tough to win if you can't score. And, I mean, long stretches of being unable to score. So, you know, and the other thing is, Mark, I don't know if you heard Hodgson's post-game comments, but he sounded like a coach who was saying goodbye and was going to Providence.
And finally, they did it, David. They did it. They had never won a tournament game And let's give it up for the Cornhuskers because it was never in doubt.
Nope.
It was never in doubt. Their fans got to celebrate from damn near the first media timeout right through 000 at the end. And the Cornhuskers now get Vanderbilt, and we'll see what they can do in the tournament. Day 2 of the full field gets started at noon today. We'll get into what to expect today and where I'll be wrong. On Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. Corey rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Corey brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Corey's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Corey, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Tampa's found themselves. It takes playing 2 bad teams on the road to do it, but Seattle and Vancouver, they just pounded them 6 each night.
I went 11-5 yesterday. Lost 1 Sweet 16 in Wisconsin.
1 loss, 2 losses. 3 losses. 4 losses. 5 losses. 6 losses. I lost 6. I mean, every night in the East, everybody just wins.
Yeah.
Columbus is now in. The Islanders are now out.
By a point, right.
Well, I think they're tied,
Columbus has
but
the
by
breaker.
games, by percentage, yeah. Yeah, they both have 83. Pittsburgh has 84, but the Islanders have played one more game. I mean, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Boston, Montreal all have 84. Columbus and the Islanders have 83.
Right.
Ottawa and Philly are still in it with 79 and 78. Philadelphia is still in it.
Well,
What the hell?
They've rattled off a bunch of road wins here.
7-2-1 in their last 10.
And that includes the Rangers going to Philly and kicking the out of them. It says here they can hear us on the radio behind the commercials.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. The starting five coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. I went 11-5 yesterday on the brackets. Lost one Sweet 16 team in Wisconsin. Was immediately kicking myself because I took Wisconsin over my beloved Arkansas. Two teams that I was pounding the table for. Wisconsin and Arkansas come to tournament. They're going to face each other in the second round. And look at that. I picked the wrong team because one of them couldn't even get there. The 2 9s won, Mark. You know, a lot of times when you're just accumulating points in the first round, 1 point per game, and sometimes it just helps. How'd you do in the 8-9 games? Did you pick the 8s? Did you pick the 9s? I usually pick the 9s. First day of the tournament, I had 2 8s. Loss.
David, let's get to what's important.
Yes.
And that is the early game first half over-unders. Over-unders in which the total was 70 or less, and the game started before 2 p.m. Eastern. Since 2011,
right,
unders in those games have won at a 66% clip. It was a little nugget I found 2 days ago and then had to do some homework to back up whether or not it was true. And I had multiple sources who backed that statistic. So there were 2 games in which that was the case yesterday. Ohio State and TCU, and Nebraska and Troy. And Ohio State and TCU hit. I think the number was 66.5. It was 63. One without a problem. 3 points. And Nebraska hits a 3 with about 30 seconds left in the half to put the game right at the number. And as they're defending, I need Troy to not make a shot at the end of the first half. The Troy player drives the lane. They call a blocking foul. He threw the ball forward at someone, and the referee said that's good enough for a shot in today's game. They put the Troy player on the line. He knocked down both free throws. It did not win. There is one game left today in the first round that starts before 2 and fits the criteria of the over-under being under 70. And that is Virginia and Wright State. So just letting you know, there's one more shot. If history is an indicator, that means that this game will go under. So take it for what it's worth. Wright State and Virginia, first half total, going with the over-under at 67.5 for those of you that are interested.
So a 15-year history says that we should take the under in that play. If you're looking for a bet of the day, one bet of the day, that would be it. That's as degenerate as we can get, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
But for years on this show, and we can play this again if you want to do it later, David, because I think it's worth it. But for years on this show, Miller and Moulton have banged the drum for the mid-major and the little guy.
Yep.
We truly have. And for a guy, particularly with me, who loves to make a chalky bracket, I still love the little guy. I just don't want them around when the Sweet 16 comes next week. I love what High Point did yesterday. How can you be, to me, unless you're a Wisconsin fan, how can you be a sports fan and not love what High Point did? It's what the tournament's about. And the High Point head coach in the post-game media table there, the press conference, he didn't really sound like a guy that won, David. He didn't. He was happy, but he used his platform to get a few things off his chest. I mean, David, I have to say, when I saw it, I immediately thought of you and said, that was either Moulton talking to Seth yesterday, or if David were a head coach, that's exactly what he would do.
Well, immediately after the game, when he was on the court, he was very enthusiastic. It was as if he was at a UFC or a WWE event. He was very animated, all right, and loud and in your face on the court. By the time he got to the podium, he had calmed down a little bit. The adrenaline had settled a little bit. Flynn Clayman is the first-year head coach of High Point. Hell of a first year, Mr. Clayman.
And here is Clayman on the podium following the win against Wisconsin.
Tough to even put into words what just happened. Couldn't be more proud of this team. In the summer, when we get those shot tracker numbers back, there's 63 schools in the country that have it. We're number one every week in shots taken. They could talk about whatever we have. We're working. We're selfless. And it's pretty obvious to me that something needs to be done about this non-conference scheduling. High Point and Miami, Ohio are 2-0 in quad one games. We couldn't get games. They couldn't get games. Akron couldn't get games. UNCW couldn't get games. Belmont couldn't get games. We won 22 of our last 23 games. We didn't move up one spot in the metrics. Not one. We won 22 of our 23. We've won 25 games by double digits. That team right there is a fantastic team. Five top 10 teams. If we can get games like this on neutral courts, on neutral courts, and some home games, I think we'd know who's really the best. I'm proud of these dudes. We're not just here to win one game. We're here to win one game. We're here to get to the Sweet 16.
I mean, there it is, David. Now they're never getting home games. I mean, that's a pipe dream. That's not happening. But neutral site games, being able to schedule teams and play them at their place, we know it's not going to happen. I'll go back to what we've talked about with Jason Carmelo. This is where these schools need to know what they're going to be like next year and start scheduling one another. It may not end up being a quad one game. It may be a quad two game, David. But it at least will give them the opportunity to show the committee against good teams what they're all about.
Listen, the A-10 having the nice first round, not going to do anything. All right. High Point winning, Miami of Ohio winning, not going to do anything until the committee puts a few of the smaller to mid-major schools in on Selection Sunday. All the bracketologists, none of them were seriously considering, outside of Miami of Ohio, any of these other schools for at-large bids. VCU, remember, if they had lost to Dayton in the A-10 final, the committee chair said they were not going to get a bid. And Mark, because, obviously, the only way they'll ever get a home game is if literally a kid on the Power 4 school is like from that community and the coach wants to give him a home game as a favor. Some coaches do that. Okay, like, Coach K gave Leitner a game at Buffalo one time when he was a senior. But for the most part, those games are never going to happen. But the thing that's not happening is the big boy won't even schedule High Point for a home game.
And
they won't
trust
even
me,
schedule
with
them at
High
home.
Point winning and the way that they play, David, they're not going to schedule them.
Right.
That win does nothing to help their scheduling down the road. In fact, I could argue, if anything, it hurts it, David.
Well, I think they all have to go public with who it is they tried to schedule. Instead of having the media do the work for them, I think these schools are going to have to go public during the season and say, you criticize their schedule, here's who we tried to play.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
PA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Empire, you might be, but trust me, the networks aren't. Because the year that we had San Diego State and FIU, it was the worst rated Final Four, I think, this century. People don't watch. They want what I talk about. And you may want the other thing, and that's fine. I'm not knocking your opinion, but they want what I want. A couple first-round upsets, and by the Sweet 16, you've got 15 or 14 named teams. That's what they want. I think VCU wins best hair of the tournament. There's some lids on that team.
I was going to say multiple players.
Oh yeah. I thought it was just the one guy. I'm like, there's another one that has a hair just like him.
I loved when they had to do the review to determine if ball going out of bounds, because clearly the North Carolina player touched it last, but they had to determine whether or not the ball touched the VCU player's hair
right
after the North Carolina player's hand.
So you had to have watched this game, and there wasn't much of a reason to, because Sparty took it to the to North Dakota State there. But there were two black refs, three refs, but two of them were black and they were bald. So you had to tell them apart. It was the smaller of the two guys. I have never seen a man run with higher knees than
Oh,
the
yeah.
one referee.
Oh, yeah.
And David, it didn't matter whether he was sprinting or at a slow jog. I've never seen a man run. There were 3 trips down the court in which I wasn't watching the game. I was just watching the referee's high knees.
Yep.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
And that's what they call them. The Field of 68 was the first media outlet like 3 years ago that focused on him. Look at him. And they call him high knees.
Because he does it all the way until he slows down. I've never seen a running stride quite like that.
Yep. Jeffrey Anderson, is that his name? Oh, yeah. He does a lot of games.
I love him. Went in to do my labs yesterday, David. They are very efficient here. To tell you how reliant we are on computers, the systems were down at Moffitt yesterday. If I have a 10:30 lab, I'm usually there by, well, for 10:30, I get there at 10:25 because I got crap to do after the show, get the podcast stuff to Trent. So I get there maybe 5 minutes early. But literally, I'm in within those 5 minutes. I've never have gone to labs later than the scheduled time. Normally, it's earlier.
Okay.
And because I have this line, my labs take, they weigh you, they do your vitals, they take the blood. The whole process usually takes 3 minutes. I didn't get in until noon yesterday. I was not happy.
Wow.
And it was probably 5 of noon. But I had to walk up to the counter 3 times. And the last time I was not happy. I didn't lose my cool. I had a very calm demeanor about me. But when she tried to tell me the second time that everybody ahead of me had appointments before me, and a guy walked out and I heard he and his wife go, well, that wasn't bad. That was only 45 minutes past our appointment. And it was 11:45. Don't lie to me. Ray, don't you lie to me, Ray.
Don't lie to me, Ray.
Once that happened, then and my blood pressure's been great. They took me off the blood pressure meds. I knew my blood pressure was going to be high when they did it. There was never a doubt in my mind. And it was their fault. Then we went and got a meatball sub. Cousin Vinny's.
There we go.
I somehow in my TikTok world, I've gotten to like a couple like Tampa food or wannabe food critics, and Cousin Vinny's has come up on the top 5 sandwich places for everybody. It delivered. It delivered.
Good deal.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Neil Blackmon, he covers the SEC. We'll talk to him about those that played yesterday, those in action today, including the Gators. Bracket Dom will join us about the first day of the tournament in a little more than an hour. Do we have a poll question yet?
Not only do we not have a poll question, I don't even have an idea of what we're doing for a poll question. I need to get to work here. I was too busy talking about Jeffrey Anderson, the referee in the Michigan State game.
You mean
he's
high
the one
knees?
with the high knees,
right?
I did not know that this was a thing.
Yeah.
I was totally enamored with the referee, and give it up to our chat room who gave me his name. Jeffrey Anderson is the guy's name.
Yep.
He's a bald black man, and there were 3 referees, and he was under the basket Michigan State was shooting at in the first half. And when he would run back down the court, I had never seen a stride quite like that, ever. And it didn't matter if he was running full speed or if he was at a slow jog. I've never seen knees come up like that. I mean,
Right.
Herschel Walker must watch this guy and go, those are high knees.
No doubt about it.
It was fantastic. There was 3 trips down the court in which I wasn't watching the game. I was just watching him.
I could date myself and go Ronaldo Nehemiah and Edwin Moses. Watch him run and go, damn, his knees are high.
Look at you going. What is it? The 220 lows or the 330 low hurdles? Is that what was?
I don't know. All I know is Nehemiah was going to star in the 80 Olympics, and we boycotted. And he was from my mom's school. Okay, literally went to the school that my mom worked at, so it was a big blow. And then Edwin Moses had that, a 140 something races in a row that he won before he finally got beat.
He was amazing.
Yep.
Nehemiah was that the guy the Raiders took a shot at?
Niners. When his Olympic dream, he had a choice.
Yeah.
Does he stay at it for 4 more years, or does he try to make some money off his speed? And so, the Niners, he played with them a few years. Trying to think if he actually got a ring on the 84 team or not. So I'll look that up after.
The starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting 5.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. They've got that tried and true method, building a better community through BST, Business, Sports, and Tourism. Well, obviously, we'll start with the madness. The upset of the day, we had a 12 beat a 5 in dramatic fashion. High Point gets a layup from Chase Johnston with 11 seconds to go. It was his only made 2-point shot of the season thus far. High Point came from 8 down late to beat the Badgers 83-82. Next up, they'll play Arkansas, who scored the first 11 points of the game and cruised by 19 against Hawaii. South Florida's great season came to an end. They couldn't put the ball in the ocean for most of the day, shot about 38%. Louisville, meanwhile, shot over 50% from inside the arc and outside the arc. Louisville ended South Florida's season 83-79. Louisville will face the Spartans of Michigan State, who rolled over the Bison of North Dakota State by 25. Number 1 seed Duke, number 1 overall seed Duke, found themselves down 11 at the half against 16th seeded Siena. No 1 seed had ever trailed against the 16 by double digits at the half. Siena only had 5 healthy scholarship players, however. They all played 39 minutes and 50 seconds. With about 7 minutes to go, their tank ran out of gas. And they went about 6 minutes without scoring. Duke came back, completed the comeback 71-65. Next up for the Blue Devils, the 9 seed TCU, who jumped all over Ohio State. The Buckeyes came all the way back, actually had a 2-score lead late. And then TCU beat them darn near at the buzzer, 66-64. Nebraska's first ever tournament win. They destroyed Troy 76-47. Cornhuskers and Vandy will meet in the second round. The 5 seed had a contest with McNeese State, but ended up winning by 10. Another upset, North Carolina up 19 6 minutes into the second half. Biggest blown lead by the Tar Heels in their illustrious tournament history. VCU came all the way back, forced overtime, and then won it in the OT 82-78. The 11 seed will face the Fighting Illini, who destroyed Penn by 35. Texas. There's always a team that emerges from the first 4. They win at least one more game. Oftentimes there's a first 4 team that goes to the Sweet 16. Texas threatening to be that team this year. They surprised 6-seeded BYU 79-71. Next up for the Longhorns, the Zags, who struggled with Kennesaw State before advancing 73-64. And finally, the Billikens. Remember when they were like 20-0, 22-1? And then they played for a month, yeah, they look like that team that played the first 3 months of the year. They spanked Georgia by 25. Next up for the Billikens, Michigan, who was only up 4 at the half against Howard. 101-80 Wolverines final. A&M, the 10 seed, had no problem with St. Mary's 63-50. They'll face Houston next, who embarrassed Idaho by 31. Okay. Alabama, 3:15 Eastern today. They host Hofstra on True TV. Miami of Ohio. Does the Cinderella run continue against Tennessee? 4:25 Eastern on TBS. Florida's in action 9:30 tonight on TNT against Prairie View A&M. UCF 7:25 tonight on TBS against UCLA. And the latest game, I think, on the board, 10:10 on True TV, Miami and Missouri.
Which means what? It'll start at 10:30?
Right. And certainly won't end before 12:30. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
8 games in the NBA last night. Give it up to the Lakers. They were in Houston Wednesday night. They got in at 5 a.m. Thursday morning. 14 hours later, they beat the Heat. 134-126. They're 8th in a row. LeBron had a triple-double. And yet, he took a backseat and then some because Luka scored 60. 60. Damn. Magic lost. Head coach got ejected. Orlando is now tied with Atlanta for the 6th seed. And actually, the Hawks own the tiebreaker. So if the playoffs started today, the Magic would be in the play-in. Pistons won without Cade Cunningham. He has a collapsed lung. It happened in the game against Washington. Fight for a loose ball. He got accidentally kneed on his left side upper rib cage. Collapsed lung. All they're saying is he's going to miss quite a bit of time. Playoffs start in a month. Detroit is a 4-game lead on Boston for the 1 seed. San Antonio's 3 back of OKC, and they clinched a playoff spot last night. They beat Phoenix at the buzzer 101-100. Some blowouts because it's the NBA. Utah at home by 32. Philly shorthanded on the road in Sacramento, still won by 21. Cleveland beat the Bulls by 5. New Orleans beat the Clippers by 6. By the way, LeBron, not only did he have a triple-double, he tied Robert Parrish for most games played in NBA history.
Alabama tied Robert Parrish for most weed in your house.
I don't know. I think Alabama's trying to pull ahead. Parrish played a long time, though. Nate Newton thinks Robert Parrish had a lot of weed in his house.
There you go.
That's all I'm going to say. Look up the Nate Newton marijuana arrest. Trunk, big-ass trunk, too, completely full with weed. 11 games in the NHL. Kucherov, another goal and 2 assists. I'm serious. Can we just give him the heart? There's not a better player in the league this year than Kucherov. There isn't. Period. End of sentence. I don't care if they're in second place. He's the best player in the league. Period. Shouldn't that win the heart?
I know Nathan McKinnon would want to have a word.
Not this year. Lightning 6-2 over Vancouver. Sabres, they are 32-6-2 in this 40-game stretch. It's the best 40-game stretch that any team has had in the league since the 95 Red Wings, who lost in the Stanley Cup final that year. 5-0 Buffalo over San Jose. 10th straight road win for the Sabres. Wow. Panthers own Edmonton. Shut them out last night in Edmonton 4-0, but Brodsky only had to make 21 saves. Bruins won 6-1 over Winnipeg. Detroit won 3-1 over Montreal. Those 2 teams tied for the 2 wild card spots. Of course, they only have a 1-point lead on the Islanders, but hey, This moment in time, they're both in. Speaking of the Islanders, they lost at Ottawa 3-2. And that moved them from third place in their division to missing the playoffs entirely. Because you got 6 teams battling for 5 spots separated by 1 point in the East. How's that for a final month of hockey? Nashville, the Preds are just a point out of the playoffs. They beat Seattle 3-1. They're a point behind the Kings, who lost in a shootout to the Flyers 4-3, but that point would put them in the playoffs as of today. Vikings re-signed Carson Wentz. You think we're ever going to see J.J. McCarthy play for the Vikings again?
You know, David, that's a great question. I mean, I had someone text me, are they going to cut him? Like, no, he's on a rookie deal.
Right.
It doesn't cost him very much money to see if they can figure out if he can play, but he looks like he's the 3 for now.
WBC title game ratings are in. 10.8 million watched on Fox Tuesday night. To give you an idea, that's better than the NBA Finals last year. And remember, the Finals went 7. PGA Tour, Sung Jae Im, a 1-shot lead at the Valspar at 7 under. Huge crowds for the LIV event in South Africa. Bryson DeChambeau and Charles Howell III tied for the lead at 8 under. LPGA back in the States, the Founders Cup in California. Ho-Joo Kim with a 2-shot lead at 9 under. 2 other notes. We're being selfish here. First off, longtime friend of the show, Mike Westhoff. The Hall of Fame announced he's getting their Award of Excellence, which they hand out to someone who has made, quote, significant contributions to the game. The longtime special teams coach will be honored at the end of June. Hats off to our buddy Mike Westhoff.
I talked to him yesterday. He was ecstatic about it. And, it's from his peers. And that was the reason it even means more to him. Not that any honor wouldn't mean something, but the fact that it's his peers who awarded him this. And what an honor for Mike. We'll get him on the show next week.
And I mention this because, well, it's a footnote. It actually made some major publications, but it's also my alma mater. The University of Scranton snapped NYU's 91-game winning streak in the semifinals of the Division III tournament.
SCC.
3 years.
SCC.
Stop it. They're the Lady Royals. Leave them alone. They beat NYU 60-52 at NYU. They will play for the Natty, which they last won when some 19-year-old kid with a fro and a cheesy porn mustache was calling the games courtside in St. Norbert, Wisconsin. So there. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories, Mike Westhoff and the Lady Royals that you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by Lee County, Florida, building a better community through BST, Business, Sports, and Tourism.
I'm going to stop right now.
You better. Come on now.
I was going to ask you, is that why Lord wrote that song, Royals? Was that about the Lady Royals?
20 years we've been doing this show. How many times have I ever talked about my college? 3 in 20 years? I get Michigan State up to Yahoo. You can suck it for 8 seconds. It's the Lady Royals playing for the Natty, baby. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Takori, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Suck it, Mark. That was the best line we've ever had on the show. You can suck it, Mark. God, that's great. Now, if he'd put his damn headsets on so we can talk about a poll question, that would be great too. Because I have two in my head, but he's not helping. He already did the starting five. I don't know what the hell he's writing down. Got to be honest with you.
Couldn't be working on his bracket. That was a problem yesterday.
Well done, Rick.
Maybe he's
He must be
revising it.
Well, he might be writing a check or mailing something out to someone. I don't know if he has enough stamps. Wow. Wow, Deadstroke. Look at you coming off the top rope. I wish you would put your God blanking headsets on, David. Just, you know when they're coming on? At 7:50. That's what's happening.
Think you'd see a text?
No.
No.
Nope. He's checked out. He's paying bills. I'm telling you right now. I saw him licking an envelope earlier. He's paying bills. Nope, there it did. Did you get the bills? Did you get the bills paid?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay. Let me take you away from your bills for a second and get to a couple of ideas for poll questions.
Okay.
One, today is the first day of spring. What is your favorite season?
Huh. Okay.
Now, I know winter won't win, but some people like it.
Yeah.
Two, what great team do you hate the most? Duke, 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 or Duke are my first four choices. Or what great team / coach do you hate the most? And you could do Belichick, Coach K. I don't know who the others would be, but Duke, the Yankees, this, I don't know if the Celtics qualify.
You could do Patriots.
Yeah, you could.
Because it all came back this Super Bowl. People had the shakes again.
I like what Paula's got there, the Cowboys, but they don't qualify as a great team, and we'll use that line on air. I think we hate the Yankees more than the Dodgers, RGM. I do. Right now, recency bias, I get it.
Can you put the SEC?
Alabama.
Okay.
Because I don't get the sense that people hate the Ole Misses and the LSUs, but they hate Alabama.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this NCAA Tournament Friday. The first round continues. 2 of the 5 best days of the year, yesterday and today. Hope your brackets are still okay. Hope you didn't ride Wisconsin too far. Many of us had them in the Sweet 16. Oh, okay.
I can't believe you had him in the Sweet 16. I really cannot. And the only reason I say that is, yes, you were on Wisconsin the past few weeks, but you were on Arkansas in November.
Yeah.
And no, you never let up. I mean, even when we had, I think it was the first time we had Jason Carmelo on, and you're like, who, and I think I asked the question, I think I was one that asked, who's a team that's not a, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 seed that could make a deep run? And the first team he said was Arkansas. And you gave it a tiger fist pump because you had been praising Arkansas for so long. And you even said it was the game you hemmed and hawed at the most.
I did.
And I was stunned when you told me you took Wisconsin. Stunned.
I did. I had 3 different crossouts on my bracket. 20 minutes just to get the final pick on that game. Yep. And I got it wrong. Figures.
So looking at poll questions. And so I go to this website just to try to find something that today is. And David, as I looked up on nationaltoday.com, the first thing that I see is today is International Day of Happiness. And I started laughing because if there is a day that applies the direct opposite of what this show is, it's International Day of Happiness. International Day of Snark, we'd be all over it.
Right.
And with that snark, I have this in mind because as I was texting with a buddy yesterday who has my equal hatred for Duke, he sends a text when Wisconsin loses. He says, thanks for coming, Wisco. Duke's still my team. Does so much less with so much more. You know how much I hate that program? Duke basketball is my #1 disliked team in any sport.
Wow.
Coach K, so annoying. They follow it up with just as annoying coach, maybe more so.
What's annoying about John Shire?
Everything.
What?
He's David. He's Coach K light. I actually agree with that text one. I can't stand him.
Why?
I want them to lose every game they play.
But that's a Duke thing.
No. He helps it. He's just as annoying.
What are you talking about? He hardly even yells at the officials. Coach K was brutal to the officials.
Every time they show him, he has got that sarcastic look like he probably should wear a hat backwards during games. He's so annoying.
You don't think maybe that you're transferring some stuff?
No,
Shire?
I don't.
You sure?
I'm positive I don't.
Okay, I just want 21,000, the Twitch and YouTube chat rooms. Honestly, do you see and feel this? Not from Duke. Granted, most of you really don't like Duke. I get it. But John Shire?
He looks just as annoying as Coach K.
Wow.
Slap that look right off his face.
He's not JJ Redick. You sure you're not getting him confused?
I'm positive.
Wow.
JJ Redick could play. So it leads me to this question. What good/great team do you hate the most? And my first thought was for the four choices to put Duke, 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 and Duke.
Oh, my goodness. You are on a roll today. I like it.
But in hindsight, I've looked and said there are other teams that we hate. And, my wife's been here this week as my caregiver. The team she probably hates, there's two. Like, this would be a tough poll question for her because there are two that I know she hates that I think should make the list. One is Alabama. People have an opinion about the Crimson Tide, and it's mostly negative. People like when they lose. They all watch them, and it puts them in that good, great category. And obviously, they've won enough to be a great program. We know that. But there are a lot of people that watch the Crimson Tide just hoping and praying that they lose.
Okay, so that I get it if you were tired of them under Nick, but I'm just wondering, has things lessened in the last couple of years? I mean, missed the playoffs the one year, got blown out in the second round of the playoffs this year. Has that lessened the animosity at all, or?
It's made people happier.
Okay.
I think they've enjoyed the holidays more. I think the Patriots make the list.
Well, I will say, I thought enough time had come and gone between the Belichick-Brady dynasty, and I thought, come on, it's Vrabel. Okay, it's Drake May. This is a different team. There's no remnants to. Boy, the closer we got to that game, Mark, the more the folks were like, yeah, I can't stand the thought of them winning again. No.
And trust me, Alabama's the same way, David. If they come back, you'll get it again. So I think right now I have no problem with Duke, Alabama, and the Patriots. It's then finding a fourth. My initial thought would be the Yankees.
Okay.
But they've not won in a while.
Right. 2009, last time they won the last game of the year. But, I mean, they're in the playoffs. They've had 30-plus consecutive winning seasons. They're in the playoffs basically every year. So,
you could just go Canada.
Stop it. I'll tell you what. I think we should have a poll question for the Miller and Moulton poll question. And then I think you should say, I am feeling it today. This is my own personal question. Okay, you could submit two of them. One would have Duke listed 4 times. Then your second one, you could put Canada on it. You could put Notre Dame on it. Okay, you could, thank goodness the Wings had a third period rally and won last night. I could only imagine what the poll questions would be like today. Right. And a huge game tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me. Okay, Wings need to get 2 points against the Bruins, or he's going to be grumpy on Monday too.
Hey, look at there's actually 7 teams that are all within a point of one another.
Right.
Montreal's there with 84 too. They've got a game in hand. It's going to be a hell of a run.
It's amazing.
To whoever makes the playoffs in the East. So, all right, no Canada. Someone did nominate the Cowboys, but you had to listen to what the question was. It's a good/great team, and they don't qualify. Not even close. So the Patriots, Alabama, and Duke, I think, are 3 easy ones. You could go the Yankees.
Lakers?
The Lakers. So to me, I like the Lakers, but I get that people hate them, and I understand it.
Well, I think this is where, remember like last year I said the national media is going to turn people against the Knicks because the national media, so East Coast bias, New York driven, that they were so in the tank for the Knicks that it's going to turn off the casual fan. All right. I don't think outside of in Boston, I don't think people grew up hating the Lakers. Okay. The Magic Lakers were very likable. Okay, people like the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. But, now that the national media talks NBA incessantly, far more than their customers want them to, and they focus on the Lakers every day. I mean, the Lakers are the Cowboys. Okay, every day, got to do 1 or 2 segments on the Lakers. Doesn't matter how they're doing. Got to do 1 or 2 segments on the Lakers. And I think people they're like, oh, please, enough of the Lakers already.
Well, and enough of LeBron. That's really what it is. I mean, because LeBron's incredibly polarizing. You and I like LeBron.
Right.
And I truly do. And I respect his game and all of those things. But I've had enough with the LeBron stuff. And I've had enough with LeBron with a microphone in front of him talking about things to me that he doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about. And that's part of the Laker hate.
There you go. And that's why I wonder, are they our fourth? Quick sidebar, though. The news came out this week about Vegas and Seattle being the 2 expansion teams. Somebody put a mic in front of LeBron because the rumor was, it's going to be Vegas and Seattle. And LeBron was going to be part owner of the Vegas franchise. And LeBron came out and said, I'm not interested. Now, I don't know if he's not interested because how much money it's going to cost, or if he just all of a sudden decided, not interested. Okay, maybe he's got another team in mind.
So to me, it's between the Lakers and the Yankees
for
the 4th team. So 21,000. I'll let you decide. You, David, or our chat room, or the text line, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000 and then let it rip. So, I hate Duke. This is all stemmed from me hating Duke. And today being the first day of spring, my other poll question is, what's your favorite season?
Ooh, I like that.
Because spring is great. I get it. The one thing I miss being in Florida is the fall. Spring in Michigan, where I grew up, a lot of damn rain, to be brutally honest with you. There's nothing exciting about spring. But fall, those nice fall nights, the campfires, or the fires in the backyard, a fire pit, whatever you want to call it. I miss fall. I will vote fall on that poll question. But it is the first day of spring. It's the equinox. Get excited, people. For you Floridians that are here year-round, that means we're only about a month and a half from people going home and the traffic being a little bit better.
I don't know. They might stay longer this year because the weather hasn't cooperated. It has not been as warm as they had hoped when they came down. Not this year.
Coldest winter I ever remember living in Florida. I've been here since 98. It is the coldest winter that I think we've ever had in the nearly 30 years that I've lived in Florida.
Still in the low 40s as we speak here in Jacksonville.
Unbelievable. Well, you're in Georgia. So
I will say, I mocked you all those years when you referred to Jacksonville as South Georgia because I knew you were mocking Jacksonville.
Right.
Okay. And now that I'm 30 minutes from the Georgia line, when it gets cold like this, I do sit there and go, Miller was onto something. Today it feels like South Georgia. Man, it's nippy.
So there you go. We'll get a couple of poll questions up here. I'll get them up during the break. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton to vote. If you don't have or subscribe to X, you can text us your answers. 21,000 Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. The brackets. Good day yesterday. Couple of upsets. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
What will we get today? Game starting around noon. Remember, Wright State under first half.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000.
Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Funny, Shimko. I like that. No Celtics on the list. I think more people right now hate the Lakers than the Celtics, Ambient, because people hate LeBron. You may like him, but people hate LeBron. And it could have been the Yankees, could have been Notre Dame. There's a lot of Notre Dame. And I don't like Notre Dame, but they wouldn't even finish top three. Well, they wouldn't finish top two. They're not ahead of Duke. I think because I like Freeman. Very nice, JS.
Absolutely.
Very
well
nice.
Played. Well played, sir. By the way, normal size Rolling Rocks, or did you?
The minis?
The minis?
That's funny.
It's all part of cheap beer night on Wednesdays.
We used to have dollar Molsons. Like that was a big one at Rick's American Cafe.
Met my wife at Dollar Molson night.
Yeah.
By the way, when I made the comment about Scranton and about my hair and my mustache, my mother said, your hair was fine. The mustache was awful. Gotcha. Mom.
So I haven't had to shave like, not only is the hair on the head not growing back, I've got nothing on the face, although I'm starting to get just this spot on my chin, hair's growing. My wife goes, you got to get rid of that. That's awful. David, did you go to Pete Bordyback? Is what it
Pete
says
Bordy's. Pete Bordy's. Yeah, it was directly across the street from the first TV station I got a job at, Channel 22. Oh, yeah, Pete Bordy's, 10-cent drafts. 10-cent drafts.
Dooley's used to do that in the summer, 10-cent drafts, and we would just order them by the tray. God, they were awful.
They were like 8-ounce drafts, but they were 10-cent drafts.
Right. Same thing. You'd get a tray for like, $2.50 or something like that.
And Pete Bordy's would open at like 8 a.m. Cops didn't care.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We'll look back and look ahead, SEC hoop-wise, with Neil Blackmon coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. How are your brackets, by the way? Mark went 10-6 yesterday. I went 11-5. He suffered the most damage. He had BYU going to the Elite Eight. I had Wisconsin going to the Sweet 16. So that's the damage that we both suffered yesterday. How about you guys? How's your brackets look?
David, the hate is out. That question got
here we go
more text responses than you telling me to suck it at the end of the 6 o'clock hour.
Leave my Lady Royals alone. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to be singing that Royal song by Lord all day. In fact, I'm going to play it right after the show. I love that the first text we got about the teams we hate simply said, and I think it's the first time this person's ever texted the show. It simply said, yes.
Which one then?
It just said yes. And then, people also gave us the teams they hate. This person said Alabama, Lakers, Dodgers, Duke in order. I don't care who you root against, but who do you hate? This is a Yankee fan that roots against the Chiefs. Any New York professional team got on the list. A couple of Chiefs and a couple of Notre Dames. And they definitely are worthy of making the list.
Sure.
That fourth one, they could have definitely been there. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But I think there's more national Alabama hatred than even Notre Dame hatred at this point in time. I really do. And trust me, I'm a guy who is not a Notre Dame fan. One of my favorites, though, the other question was, what is your favorite season? And of course, we listed spring, summer, fall, winter. This person said, Miller, my favorite season is smoked paprika. That's funny. Well played. A Kansas basketball, but he's a Missouri fan. But I'm right there with you. If I were to rank the teams I hate in college basketball the most, right behind Duke would come Kansas.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
Greg Lutz.
Excuse me?
He was my boss in Nashville, and he was stupid. He was one of the worst bosses I've ever had in my life. He ran a hockey team, and he had no clue how to do it.
Okay.
He did everything to sabotage the hard work that we did. He was a bit of a thumper, which drove me nuts because I thought it was a little bit of a lie. And he loved Kansas above all else. And
Gotcha.
I hated him so much that I've hated Kansas my entire life.
That's 30 years ago, though.
Yes, it is, David. I can hold a grudge. Are you not familiar with the two of us?
No. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew how long it had been since you worked with, as you called it, the thumper. All right. And that's all 30 years. Sometimes things dissipate. Like, I can honestly say the only sports team I've ever hated in my life was the Islanders, because that dynasty just seemingly was ruining my youth. Okay, it really was.
It really was, David, because there were some good Ranger teams that just they seem to have no. And that's when I think they showed the games on USA back then. Like that's early cable for me, and I was a hockey fan, so that's some of the first pro hockey I got to watch on TV, and it was at my Uncle Jim's house because he was the guy that had cable, and I remember that Barry Beck and some of these, and they couldn't beat the damn Islanders.
And you look back now and you look at the rosters and you realize, man, the Islanders were so much better. But that's just not how it felt at the time, because nobody played them tougher than the Rangers, and nobody lost in heartbreaking fashion quite like the Rangers to the Islanders. And so I hated them. Okay. But now, I mean, that time when we met Dennis Potvin, okay, and we did the live remote from, the Panthers game, and that was awkward. I was in between. I wasn't full on, Potvin sucks, 1979, but I still wasn't ready to, pose for a picture and forgive and forget. I was in between, but I don't hate him anymore.
No, you did not want to interview Dennis Potvin.
No.
You had no desire. You're just a Hall of Famer, one of the best defensemen to ever lace him up, and you had no interest.
Easily one of the 10 best defensemen of all time. Easily. Yeah. Not even up for consideration. Clearly on the list. Right. Captain of, the best dynasty we've seen in that sport in 45 years. Won 19 consecutive playoff series, by the way, the Islanders, from 80 through 84. 19 playoff series in a row.
By the way, got a text from my buddy who now she lives in Cincinnati. She and I work together in Nashville. She says, I'll never let it go. She's right there with me.
Wow. He must have been a charmer.
Yeah, he was.
Man. He
was. Another text that simply says, go Lady Royals. Don't disrespect them, Mark.
Yeah.
Look at you, University of Scranton folk, coming out strong for your Lady Royals. Coming out so strong that for the first time in the history of this show, I just called them the University of Scranton.
You did, as opposed to Scranton CC. That was the
I didn't even say it. Didn't even think about it.
I just wanted to let people in on it. For 10 years, our old producer, John and Mark, all right, and then they were talking about their alma maters, and then they would go, oh, yeah, and Scranton CC over here. Mm-hmm. Yep. It was pretty funny. I gotta give him that.
The Canes getting a vote, Ohio State getting a vote, and I thought about putting the Buckeyes up there. There's a lot of Buckeye hate.
Yeah, but that's just because there's so many Michiganders, listening to the show. I don't know.
But the SEC all hates the Buckeyes too. That's the other thing. The SEC, and maybe it's changed here in the last couple of years with Michigan and Indiana, along with Ohio State winning titles. But the SEC as a whole kind of put the whole Big Ten at arm's length, with the exception of one team.
That's true.
I mean, the whole, like my son, who's a diehard Georgia fan and has the Georgia rivals that he dislikes, Ohio State's right there for him.
Okay.
That conference does not like the Buckeyes.
No, I can see that. So it's not just all the Michigan hate and also other Big Ten fans envious, but yeah, it's true. SEC fans have no love lost. I got to admit, I just always thought the uniforms and the helmets were great.
They are,
except when they don't wear them, which I literally, if I want to move to Ohio, become a member of the state legislature and pass a law, I really do. These are your uniform choices. Okay, Nick Saban got it right. We go red and white, or white with red trim. Those are our two uniforms. Okay?
Right. Notre Dame, every once in a while, they pull out the green.
Yeah, whatever. Penn
State, how do we look?
Right.
We're wearing blue
with white or white with blue. Yeah, that's it. Here we go.
How's USC look each week? I mean, come on.
Don't know.
So I'm with you. When the Buckeyes wore the black unis the one time, you and I were incredulous. We were so angry with them.
I text you. I said, I have to root against them just for the uniform choice. Listen, don't laugh. You ask a Gator fan. They win the 08 national title. They're 12-0 in 09. They come out with these old Florida uniforms in the SEC title game against Alabama. They ran out on the field. I remember being in the booth. And we all looked at one another, and I said, well, they ain't going to beat Alabama looking like that.
That's the F on the helmet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
no
John and I are texting you in the booth with our disgust, and you're blowing off Danielson to text back that we're right.
Yeah. Vern and Gary are talking about, I don't know, number one against number two, whatever. Have you seen these uniforms? Oh, my goodness, they're horrendous.
They don't look like, wait for it, the Gators.
Right. Hello.
That's all we're trying to say here.
Right. Is that the Buckeyes? I don't know. They're not wearing the helmet with the Buckeyes.
Well, and, think about as pompous as the U and the U fans are. They always look the same. They might have gotten off the bus in camo, but they weren't wearing some obscure jersey for their game.
All right. So to get that off the chest while we're getting hate off our chest, uniform choices, that would be that, you had your questions. I would work that into mine. Neil Blackmon, we'll get back to SEC basketball hate next.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend, the Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's funny, Mello, since he's coming in, and I know the people who are bringing him in, I'm actually curious if we can get him on the show. The answer is probably going to be no, but, you get the opportunity to get the commissioner of a league on, you just say yes. We had... I don't think it was before me. You had David Stern on, right?
Yes, because he came to Fort Myers when they had, it wasn't the G League at the time, was called something else. And members, Southwest Florida had the Florida Flame.
Yeah, you said you had him. Did you have him in studio? You said
no. I was actually on location. I was at the cigar bar downtown, but he gave us, and I worked on this a long time, but I said, I need 20 minutes. And they're like, 20 minutes? I'm like, 20 minutes. Okay. And I'll give him credit. He gave us 20 minutes.
Hey, by chance, have you reached out to Riggs recently? Just college basketball?
Yes.
No dice?
I only did it the once though, because I've kind of moved it around, but next week we can get him.
No, because I was actually going to hit him up about the best way to try to get Biz on.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know he doesn't know him, but I'm just going to say we've tried PR there and have had no luck. Do you have any thoughts of how to try? And I'm going to tell him why. I played in that ECH. I worked in the ECHL, and he played his junior hockey in my hometown. I could care less to talk NHL with him, and I think he's very good talking the NHL.
Yeah, Johnny, the Channel Mark restaurant owner was, involved with the team. And Stern spent the day he flew down in the morning, spent all day, went to their game that night, okay, and then left, I'd say two-thirds, three-quarters of the way through the game. But he was sitting in the stands, too. He signed autographs. I mean, it was a long day. He probably spent 12 hours in the 239, which I thought, wow. The Florida Flame getting a full day at it from David Stern. Huh.
What was the first team's name?
Sea Dragon. I'll tell you, we
sold out their first game.
And it took
it
3.5
started
hours.
late, and the game took forever. And I remember being there, and I looked at my buddy, and I said, well, this has failed. And he went, what? I go, look what time it is. I go, they're done.
Yeah. Game started 40 minutes late. Took well over 3 hours. A 7 o'clock basketball game, and they were playing after 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And it's a shame, too. They had Rick Barry, Kevin Mackey as coach. Hell, Dennis Johnson coached the Florida Flame. Right before he passed away, too.
Might want to hit this guy up with a quick text, David. I always go with the standard. Just want to make sure you got the link.
So if I don't see him when we come back, should I just call David?
Yeah. And I just text him. So we'll see.
All right.
I see everything's working great at the station there for you, Trent. Congrats. There we go. No. I was mistaken there.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Got a few poll questions today, some of them very simple. It's the first day of spring officially. We ask you what your, favorite season. Fall's going to get a lot of votes. Mark channeling his inner hate because apparently Duke just brings it out of him. And so what the 4 franchises we ended up putting on the who do you hate the most? Duke, the Yankees, Alabama, and the Patriots, I think, made the list. So vote that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Neil Blackmon covers the SEC for Saturday Down South, SaturdayDownSouth.com. Follow Neil on X at NW Blackmon. That's Blackmon, Blackmon. Neil, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Ready for another endless day of basketball.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously there's a lot of SEC teams, as there is every year, but a couple of teams that weren't expected to win by seeding did. A&M looked really good. Texas, an 11 seed, beats BYU. I don't know how it justifies teams being in or out, but the SEC had a pretty good day yesterday. Georgia got whooped, but other than that, a pretty decent day for the conference.
Yeah, they're off to a good start. Texas didn't surprise me a ton because BYU, without Richie Saunders, hasn't really guarded anybody for a month and a half, and Texas is really hard to guard. So I thought that was one that people that have watched for a couple months probably may have seen coming. Texas A&M stunned me. St. Mary's is obviously a great program. They've become that way by not making a lot of mistakes. I think they had 18 turnovers. And it's just a reminder of how hard it is to play Texas A&M and prepare for them. The style they play is so unique. They press off missed free throws. It's the strangest thing to have to deal with. It's one thing to practice, and then another thing to see it in person. It's a little bit like the midline option in football, because they do it all the time, right? And so, I thought that was a really impressive win for the Aggies, who did not play well down the stretch in the SEC.
No, there's no doubt about it. The bottom of the SEC, I thought, Neil, who made the tournament, I thought they all kind of stumbled their way into the tournament and outside. And the funny thing is the team that was playing the best was Georgia. And then they, of course, get whacked. That's why it is March Madness. All right, you got your big boys today. Florida's a 1. Obviously, that would be beyond shocking. Alabama, even despite the arrest, if they were to lose the 4-13 game, that would be very surprising. But then you've got some real money games. You got SEC teams involved in 6-11, 7-10 games that are going to be very competitive.
Yeah. Tennessee, Miami of Ohio is probably the one that casual fans are super excited about.
Sure.
And I didn't see what the line was, but if it's 10.5, that's a trap. There's probably a reason that it's in and around that. It's difficult to see a scenario where Miami of Ohio, who obviously has worked this hard to get here, and played with incredible fan support in Dayton, that doesn't necessarily mean that that'll be the sort of situation today in Philadelphia. But it's still not too far to travel for them. And they can shoot. And the one thing that Tennessee has been vulnerable to really all year has been teams that shoot the ball pretty effectively and kind of, because they shoot well, negate Tennessee's ridiculous rebounding advantage. So Miami has to make the most of the one possession they're going to get most of the time. They're not going to get many second chances. And then they just have to compete on the glass. Tennessee hasn't been great down the stretch, but Nate Ament has been their star freshman, and it'll be fun to watch him. We saw another star freshman go out last night against Texas.
All right, when you look at the Kentucky Santa Clara game, $20 million is a lot of money for a basketball team. If they were to lose, just work with me here. I'm not saying that they are going to lose, but if they lose, and there are a lot of people picking them to lose because in the last month, Santa Clara has been pretty darn good. So if they lose, is Pope's job on the line?
No, but he will get to that spot that Hubert Davis is in. And I don't know if I've said this on your show, but once you get on the hot seat, and this is just a theory I've run with a while, and I feel like I'm right, you never get off the hot seat. You might get off the hot seat in theory, for a few months. Maybe you have a great year and you're not really on the hot seat, but as soon as you lose a game, you're back on the hot seat. The point is you never permanently get off, and that's where Mark Pope would get to if this goes south today. And there's a chance that it does. You mentioned they play well. Herb Sendek is a great coach. He's won everywhere. They run really good offense. They crush people on the offensive glass, which, by the way, is a super problem for Kentucky. That they don't rebound the ball well. It's going to be it'll be a dogfight.
Kentucky, by the way, DraftKings has them just a 2.5-point favorite. I don't know what it is for Hard Rock. By the way, Neil, you wondered about Tennessee. I've seen 10.5. I've seen 11.5.
Okay.
Even. So, just a robust favorite in the 6-11 game today. All right. Obviously, we're throughout the state of Florida, and Canes fans are thrilled with the team and their performance this year. But now they got to play Missouri in St. Louis. Missouri's been interesting this year. I think Miami's been better. It's a virtual toss-up. Your thoughts on Miami, Missouri?
I would have taken Miami were the game not going to be played in St. Louis. I can't believe that the committee did Missouri that favor. It's really pretty wild to me that a 10 seed is going to get to play a game that close to their campus and then potentially play Purdue that close to their campus, which is, again, that's just kind of wild stuff. On the Miami front, they've been really good. They've been really good this year. Jay Lucas admitted when they played Florida up in Jacksonville in November, he said, well, we wanted to build a roster that looked a little bit like Florida's in that they are huge. They annihilate people on the glass. They can really, really guard. And if they get good guard play, they're really, really hard to beat. And if they don't get good guard play, they have Malik Renau, and they can guard and they stay close. I think, Missouri has the best player in this game, and they're kind of playing at home. So I kind of lean Mizzou. But that is probably the biggest coin flip game of the day.
All right. The Gators are going to get through today. We know that. But speaking of a team that got kind of screwed, and I don't know if kind of needs to be in the equation, they may have to play Houston in Houston for a 1 seed to end up having to try to win the region on the road. Gator fans have a right to be a little ticked off, don't they?
I think they do. Todd Golden joked that it would be great to not have to keep playing, to potentially not have to keep playing Houston in the state of Houston or in the state of Texas because of the San Antonio national title game. But, obviously he then said I'm not really worried about any of that right now, of course. Houston had to play Purdue and Indianapolis in the Elite Eight last year. Like, this isn't unprecedented. In fact, it happened to Houston a year ago. But it is unfortunate for the Gators, the way that seeding and sort of matchups break down. The committee was left with very little choice as well. I guess they could have shipped UConn to the South as a 2, but they probably weren't going to do that based on some other matchup problems. So it kind of is what it is. The Gators need to worry about Iowa. If Iowa beats Clemson, Iowa plays slow. They force turnovers. The Gators have been a little turnover prone. And, a low possession game, every turnover is magnified and compounded. Florida needs to be careful if they win tonight on Sunday, should they play the Hawkeyes.
How concerned should Alabama be about Hofstra with everything that they have going on? I will say I thought it was cute. Neil, sometimes I'm guilty of overanalyzing a 3-car funeral, but I thought it was cute. I don't know if you saw yesterday. So the Hofstra players, they do their podium. And as they're getting up to leave, the players ask hey, can we take our name placards with us? Okay. Just kind of a cute moment. Everybody else that had been there, they're used to this. The Hofstra kids are like, hey, this card says NCAA and it has my name on it. You mind if I take this? And so they all took their name placards and walked off the stage. The proverbial, boy, are we happy to be here. But I'm just curious, your thoughts on Alabama today?
Yeah, Hofstra is one of the best stories. This is why we love March. They lost 5 games in a row in January, and things look pretty dire. And Speedy Claxton, an incredible player in his own right, has turned that ship around. They rebound really well, and they have some good guards. I don't think I'm worried about Alabama today. I think that the committee, quite frankly, gave them a seeding gift the way that they closed the regular season. I thought a protected seed for them and not Vanderbilt was certainly a choice. I thought giving them a 4 seed in Tampa, pretty close to home, in a region where the 5 seed has a significant injury, was another gift. What a benefit to have Greg Byrne in the room, I think. And I expect Alabama to cash in on those gifts.
Vandy getting Florida again if they get through Nebraska.
Yeah.
Or Arkansas getting Arizona if they get past High Point. Which team would you think has a better shot to move on to the second week?
Arkansas. They have Darius Acuff Jr. Is one of the best 3 players in the country. And I just guard that electric in March. Florida fans know about it. I would trust him. And Arizona, probably bullies Arkansas on the glass, but that's why you play the games. And again, like if Acuff goes on a heater, it's a potentially close game. Part of my answer, by the way, is I just don't trust Vanderbilt in a road game against a Nebraska team that doesn't really beat itself. But we'll see.
Finally, from me, Neil, I have a theory. There are teams that don't play any defense, but everybody gives max effort in the tournament. So Arkansas, Alabama, Illinois, teams that during the regular season, I mean, ole. But in the tournament, my thought is that, hey, whatever they can give you, they're going to D up and give you. I don't know if you agree with that, because to me, the only way Bama, Arkansas, and Illinois go deep into their regions, they're going to have to play better defense than they played all year.
Yeah, I like your theory, and the data backs it up. The last 7 national champions have all had top 7 KenPom offenses. They've had top 10 KenPom offenses entering the tournament. Not all of them have had top 25 defenses entering the tournament. So I do think you just get a defensive boost from the adrenaline and juice of playing in the NCAA tournament. We saw Alabama with a woeful defense make a Final Four a couple years ago. Again, that's why if you have like difference-making guards like Darius Acuff Jr. and LeBaron Philon, I think you're a little more trustworthy.
What advice would you give, for my quick final question, to the small guy? And I know you cover SEC, but I mean, the High Point coach went on the podium and gave his thing. We've heard a lot of different reasons. Look, they're never going to get Duke at home. I get it. But if you were a small conference trying to get more recognition, what would you do?
I think you have to be – there are what they call the MTEs in November, the multi-team events, where you can cash in on a March run by getting an invite to a good one, and you're going to get some above board games. And some of those events historically, including like the Battle for Atlantis, is probably the best example, but there are others, have always preferred kind of a mid-major that people have heard of to some middling power conference team. And they don't necessarily have tie-ins with leagues where they have to invite a specific number of teams from each conference. So if I'm High Point, like I'm trying to go to the Bahamas in November and play some power conference teams there. I'm trying to go to Orlando and play some teams there, because the reality is programs like High Point, they're not going to get home and homes. And most of the time, if they ask for a 2-for-1, they're not getting that either, because nobody wants to lose to them on their home floor on a bad night in November. And certainly nobody wants to go up and play them in Greensboro or any of those places.
Neil Blackmon covers the SEC, Saturday Down South, SaturdayDownSouth.com. Follow Neil on X, all right, at NW Blackmon, BLACKMON. Neil, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. Enjoy your day.
Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the basketball.
Neil Blackmon, Saturday Down South, joining us on Miller and Moulton. Neil and all our guests joined us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Couple of poll questions up. One's just about the first day of spring. What's your favorite season? The other, which good team do you hate the most? I couldn't put Duke as the answer for all 4, even though I wanted to.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, Cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
PBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I mean, go Raiders. You went to St. John's and then ended up at Nassau. That's kind of like going from Meadow Soprano to Jackie Aprile Jr. there. I mean, what the hell? You're in the city and you move back out to Long Island? I mean, it's not Jersey, but hell. Sorry, I'm rewatching The Sopranos right now.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I quit school for a term, moved to Florida, waited tables. If it wasn't for my boss not letting me have a day off to watch the madness at Michigan State lose to Georgia Tech, who knows what would have happened. My buddies were all down trying to convince me to go back to college. They hadn't made the hard sale yet. They hadn't even pressed it once. They were waiting. And we all had a day, and I had to work, and I called. I said, I need the shift off. And my restaurant boss told me, no. And I said, fine, I quit. And I hung the phone up, and they all looked at me and they went, that's a lot easier than we thought it was going to be to get you back. And I had one of the great days I've ever had in my life, even though Michigan State lost. We had such a great day that day. Epic.
Was that the Georgia Tech game?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you went to Coastal, huh? great baseball stadium now, Go Raiders. I'm sure you know that. My son went there to see ECU play, I guess, in the region last year. He said that place is amazing. You didn't play in that park, though, did you, Go Raiders? I bet it was. You get that hot Southern girl that's not smart enough to get into a good school.
That's funny, Johnny.
By the way, the wife switches it up too. One day it's English muffin with butter and jam. Next day it's bagel with cream cheese.
Wow.
Thought I might get a banana today. I didn't. But in true Miller and Moulton fashion, David, I did knock the bagel down during the commercial break.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Final hour of the show in Southwest Florida. Live Oak, Lake City and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. We're just halfway home in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. The Bracket Dom will join us here coming up momentarily, okay, to talk about yesterday quickly and look ahead to today and any upsets and what have you. I lost a Sweet 16 team in Wisconsin. Mark lost an Elite 8 team in BYU. I went 11-5 yesterday. Mark 10-6. So we'll see how things fare today.
All right. A couple of poll questions up. Today's the first day of spring. What's your favorite season? Fall getting 46% of the vote. Spring and winter tied for dead last. I thought there'd be a few more spring people in.
Huh.
The romantic folks, that fall in love in the spring and things like that. But what good/great team do you hate the most? And surprisingly, I put the Lakers up there. They weren't getting a lot of early votes. They're still in last with about 18%, but the Patriots are beating Duke 32% to 27%. Alabama right now with around 23%. So those are your choices. Trust me, there were plenty of others. We could go with what average team do you hate the most, and that's where the Cowboys would fit in.
Well, low.
But I am wondering, David, as you look at today's slate of games, yesterday you were all in for Nebraska and Troy. That was far and away in your world the most important game. For me, it was Louisville and South Florida. The game largely disappointed. South Florida made a run late, but it was too little too late, even with my Spartans playing. But I was all into South Florida. What game are you most fired up about today? Is there one, or is the game going to come to you, if you know what I mean?
Well, I'm interested in the games tonight. Like, I'm very interested in UCF, UCLA. I think UCLA is about to go on a run and beat UConn and go to a Sweet 16. There are a lot, but UCF's got some very quality wins this year. And I'm very interested in Miami, Missouri.
I am as well.
I think, unfortunately, I think it's going to be the last game of the day, but I'm really interested. And of course, I'll say this. The one in which I think best chance of a notable upset, even though point spread wise it's not, is Kentucky-Santa Clara. I mean, this is a huge game for Mark Pope. He's not going to get fired, but he's going to move to the list entering next year. You know, they won't tolerate 3 underachieving years in a row. They'll tolerate 2, and they'll realize that we got a lot of money invested in this. Plus, it's a really bad look for us. We forced Cal out, and now look what he's doing at Arkansas, and we're worse. So, you know, there's a lot of ego involved that Kentucky's going to hold on to him, and he's one of theirs as long as possible. But, Mark, you lose to Santa Clara, yeah, ego gets pushed aside and reality takes over.
And you're right, David. It doesn't matter that the spread's just 2.5. It matters not one bit to Big Blue Nation. They don't care. If they lose to a team called Santa Clara, trust me, they're going to be hot when that happens. I mean, they are going to be fired up and angry if that is the case.
He is the bracket dom, arguably the best bracketologist in the country, has been voted so many times. You can see his work at bracketometry.com. You can follow him on X at bracketdom, D-O-M. All right, we'll ask it of you. The 2 or 3 games you're most interested in today, for whatever reason, enjoyment or upset-wise.
Absolutely. Now, I'm looking forward to every single one after what we got yesterday. Normally, most years after a day where we didn't have any huge upset, I would say I'm probably looking most forward to those 13, 14, 15, and 16 seeds. Unfortunately, this year, I think those top 4 seeds are maybe just a little bit too elite. We're still getting the madness. We're still getting those mid-majors. I just think at the very top, that's maybe going to be tough. So I'm kind of looking more of those middle games that I think could be absolute classics that could come down to the wire between 2 evenly matched teams. Miami, Missouri should be a really fun one. And given how Purdue has choked in the past a few times, I think the winner of that could potentially have a chance to move on to the Sweet 16. And I think Villanova, Utah State is going to be a really fun one. The Big East has kind of been a little disrespected this year. The Mountain West has been a little disrespected this year. And I think both of those teams are coming out with a lot to prove. And I think that one could be a barn burner.
You know, California Baptist has a scorer. And we think Kansas is a team that largely is underachieved this year. But nobody's won more tournament games than Bill Self of the current coaches that are in it. So he knows how to coach. You know, they talk about a lot of other guys. Bill Self, we know, gets it done in March. So an underachieving Kansas team and a California Baptist team with a pure score, do they have a puncher's chance?
I would say so. I actually think if there is any 1 through 4 seed who goes down, Kansas is the most susceptible. I mean, I still would obviously pick Kansas there, but yes, I completely agree. If we get one, if Dominique Daniels gets hot and bad Kansas shows up, and when I say bad Kansas, I think the reason they've underperformed is more just because of inconsistency. When Kansas is on their game, they're one of the best teams in the country, but we've also seen them look like not even a tournament team on some random nights this year. So yeah, Dominic Daniels, he could pop off for 30. Kansas could show up as the bad form of themselves. They're a bit Jekyll and Hyde, and that could absolutely be the big upset that we finally get in this tournament.
He's bracket dom, bracketologist at Bracketometry, has graded out as the best in the country, top 2 for each of the last 3 years. Follow him on X at bracketdom, D-O-M. All right, UCF, UCLA. I think UCLA is going to do like Texas and go on a little bit of a roll here. I actually like them against UConn. Your thoughts, though, on a 7-10 game, UCLA-UCF?
Yeah, I think this is one of the more lopsided 7-10 games. I'm completely with you on UCLA. And this was a team that had really high expectations at the start of the year and then kind of just came out a little bit flat. People were questioning, man, is this team even going to make the tournament? But man, down the stretch, they have looked fantastic. They've looked like that top 20, top 10 team we thought they would be in the preseason. We just saw them beat Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, and that's who they could potentially face in the Sweet 16. So I think a UCLA run is very possible. They match up well against UConn. They've already beat Michigan State before. So I think this could be the start of a run, and I wouldn't be worried about them losing to UCF today. They're kind of on the exact opposite end of the spectrum of UCLA, where they had no expectations at the start of the year. And I would say they overachieved even to make the tournament. But I think it's going to be too much for them to give UCLA a battle today.
My co-host has always said he likes auto racing, and he's always said if every team was equal, like the old IROC series, he'd have Patino coach his one game. That being said, no one plays at more of a snail's pace than Northern Iowa. So when you look at that game, does that pace disrupt St. John's? I know they just won the Big East tournament. I know they just beat UConn, but is a team that plays at a snail's pace given a shot against St. I mean, the number's 9.5, but it is a pace in which you could see an upset, perhaps.
I think if Northern Iowa can get St. John's to play at their snail's pace, they could pull off the upset. The issue is I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think conversely, St. John's is going to speed Northern Iowa up, make them uncomfortable, and probably win this pretty handily. But again, like I said, if Northern Iowa can just stay true to their game and force St. John's to play at that snail's pace, sure, it can happen. I just don't think they're going to be able to do that.
Little surprised that it's a double-digit number. I know Tennessee's got a great freshman and guard play, but Rick Barnes underachieves in the tournament. Miami of Ohio, they're the Cinderella run of Cinderellas, just with everything they went through. Could they make the tournament, et cetera? Do you think the Red Hawks have a shot against Tennessee today? It is a 6-11 game, and yet it's an 11-point spread.
Yeah, I think Miami of Ohio just kind of got a bit of a bad draw here. I was looking at all the other 6 seeds, and I think they would have had an amazing shot against any of the others, but I think Tennessee is kind of far and away the best 6 seed. Like when I was doing my bracketology and ranking the teams in the seed list, I think there was a bit of a gap after 21, and that one extra team that just kind of had to get bumped down to a 6 seed was Tennessee. So I do think they have a shot. I am surprised it's 11.5. If I was betting on that, I would probably take Miami of Ohio to cover. But Tennessee isn't your normal 6 seed compared to the other 3 6 seeds that were probably closer to a 7 talent wise. Tennessee is much closer to the 4s and the 5s. They were the ones that just kind of got bumped down there at the end. So it is a tough matchup for them. The 6 is a bit deceiving. But again, 11.5 still is a bit much. I think Miami of Ohio can at least make this a game, but I don't see them actually pulling the upset.
Well, Kentucky, that's a blue blood. They're spending $20 million on a roster. They're playing Santa Clara, but the spread's like 1.5, 2.5. What kind of shot do you give Santa Clara today to upset Kentucky?
Santa Clara has a fantastic chance in this game. They're a little underseeded as a 10, not underseeded based on their resume, but just based on how good they were playing down the stretch. They had a really bad loss out of conference and not a great out of conference overall. That kind of made them have to really push strong in the WCC to even get a bid. But we saw down the stretch, and they beat St. Mary's in the semifinals. They gave Gonzaga a game in the WCC championship. This team is playing really good basketball right now. And Kentucky is another one of those teams, kind of like Kansas that we talked about before, that is really Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know if good Kentucky is going to show up or bad Kentucky is going to show up. So if Santa Clara can just not get overwhelmed by the moment playing an SEC team in the tournament, and Kentucky doesn't bring their best ball, I could absolutely see this happen. The only thing that would make me a little more concerned about picking this upset now is after watching Texas A&M and St. Mary's yesterday. I thought that was going to be a fantastic game, and the SEC team, Texas A&M, just kind of blew St. Mary's out of the water. So if that's a trend to watch out for, maybe Kentucky could do the same thing, but I still think Santa Clara can absolutely take down Kentucky, and they're better than St. Mary's. They beat them in the WCC tournament. They just didn't start as well. That's why their seed is lower. He's the Bracket Dom, bracketologist at bracketometry.com. One of the very best in the country at it. Follow him on X at Bracket Dom, D-O-M, Bracket Dom. Dom, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Enjoy today. Absolutely. Appreciate having me on. I will enjoy today. You guys do as well.
Bracket Dom joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Trent will be on when one of the two of us is not. To the gentleman who asked. I was impressed that Go Raiders, that Mark was able to tell exactly what I was doing. That I was A, writing out a bill, and then B, also writing stuff into the checkbook. Additionally, besides what I was working on. I was impressed.
Well, I saw you lick this. I saw you licking the envelope earlier. I knew what was going on. That was your tell, David.
It's a big tell.
No one likes paying bills and writing checks more than David. I don't know about paying bills, but no one likes writing a check more than one David Moulton. My wife's close.
I will say this. Like I remember my mom having to sit down at the kitchen table and figure out the bills, and we didn't have any money. I mean, my mom made sure we had enough money to pay the bills, but we didn't have much more than that for a long time. And starting out in this business, I didn't have any money. I needed a loan to be poor. And so, Mark, as I got older, this may sound stupid, but sitting down and doing the bills gave me like a sense of accomplishment. Like, hey, I'm not living day to day. I'm not living week to week. I'm not living check to check. It's like I can sit down, I can pay my bills, and I can, it gave me some self-esteem.
No, I think that makes sense. It's like that. What is it? There's the former, I don't know, I think Army guy that just talks about make your bed in the morning. You've already done something at that point.
So, I mean,
it sounds silly, but you've already accomplished something as you move on with your day. And it's like, no, there's no. I understand where you're coming from.
I feel a little badly because my daughter apparently does the bills the same way. I have a monthly. Every month I have a piece of paper split down the middle. First half of the month, second half of the month. Charge bills on the bottom, and apparently my daughter does the same thing.
Does my wife, David.
Yeah.
She has a smaller notepad, not an 8.5 by 11 notepad, but hers isn't that. Hers is the smaller one. But she at the beginning of the month, she writes down all of the bills, and then as she pays them, the right side is like what she paid. It's ridiculous. The bills I pay are all taken out of my account, and I go, oh, they took that one out again.
I do have a lot more bills that are taken automatically out of my account, though. I write very few checks now, but I pay every charge bill with a check.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We just had back-to-back national guests talking brackets yesterday and today. And, yesterday, I don't know about you, Mark. I thought yesterday was better than I thought it was going to be. First off, we had a 5-12. I don't know if you picked one of those in your bracket. I didn't have a 12 winning a game this year, and it was a super dramatic 5-12 win also with High Point. I mean, a 1 seed up 11 at the half. Okay, compelling until the very end. I mean, and we had, upsets. So the 9s beat the 8s, if that matters to anybody. But, we had some other upside. Dramatic. North Carolina blowing a 19-point second half lead in a tournament game. Had never done that before.
Well, and it started great. I mean, to be brutally honest with you, the first game of the day was TCU and Ohio State. The game went right down to the wire with TCU hitting a late shot to win. That helps, if you know what I mean. Because for many years, they didn't give us the 8-9 first. They gave us the 116 first. Right. And come on, 99 times out of 100, that game's a blowout. So they give us an 8-9 game. It's a game. Yep. They chase it, and Sienna's giving Duke everything they want. And you throw High Point beating Wisconsin in there. So the morning session, or the afternoon session, rather, was terrific.
Yes.
The evening session wasn't nearly as good.
No.
But like you mentioned, North Carolina VCU was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right. And even if the games weren't all great, you had 3 really good games out of the first 4 games that were played. And that's how you need to start this sucker.
Yeah.
You don't need the upset. I mean, we always go back to this because David and I started our careers in this, you started together in this business in Southwest Florida. We always go back to FGCU and Dunk City. That was Friday evening. We had no upsets, nothing, a bunch of chalk for a day and a half.
Right. And the tournament was searching for some oxygen, and the fans sitting at home were like, oh, give me something. And then here comes this 15 seed. Nobody knows their name. They couldn't even spell the school's name properly on the graphics.
No, they still can't.
Okay, right. All right. And, we all know the story. And then voila. The funny thing is sometimes when you get, and I've told this before, that FGCU did their, upsets in Philadelphia. Well, LaSalle is from Philadelphia, but LaSalle was in the West region. I think they were playing in Salt Lake City. So they were playing after FGCU. So here is a team from Philadelphia, a 13 seed that has two big upsets and goes to the Sweet 16. And they can't get any oxygen in their hometown. The papers were all FGCU. To this day, LaSalle hates FGCU, and they joke with them, and they go, yeah, thanks. Couldn't you have done that in any other city but ours? We go to the Sweet 16. We got bupkis out of it.
So will there be an upset today? Bracket Dom doesn't think so. He thinks if it comes, it's an 11 beating a 6 or a 10 beating a 7. But he, like we've been telling you for a month, says this tournament's top heavy. It just is. But Wisconsin got beat yesterday. They were supposed to win handily.
Think how great that one game is. High Point's never won a tournament game before. It's a first-year head coach. And Mark, Wisconsin, can we go through, as the coach matter-of-factly said after the game, they've beaten 4 top 10 teams in the country. Yeah, they beat 3 of them on the road. And here they are on a neutral floor. And by the way, they have an 8-point lead with 5 minutes to go. It's not like Wisconsin is screwing this up. They're not choking. High Point had to beat them, a good team, a team that is finished. And they did it. It's just awesome to see.
And by the way, what he said on the podium about them beating the top 10 teams, he said in his locker room. I mean, they did a great job of giving you the postgame in which he congratulated them for 10 seconds and then said, that team we played has beat 4 top 10 teams. We can do more than just beat them. I mean, he threw it right back at his team. We ain't done, guys. Don't think that we're done because we won this one game. I do get that coach that he moved past that game, and they can all celebrate it down the road if they don't win against Arkansas. But he did really what a coach is supposed to do in that situation. He moved on quickly.
So it's the morning after FGCU has beaten Georgetown. And I got to bed late, but I got up early, and I'm downstairs in the hotel, and I'm with the team. And I see Andy Enfield, the head coach, hey, did you get any sleep, blah, blah, blah. And he asked me, he goes, so what are you going to write about? And I said, I'm going to write about the fact that you're the 7th 15 to beat a 2, and the other 6 all lost in the second round, and 5 of them got blown out by more than 20. How could that happen? Think about it. You're good enough to beat the 2, and you're not even good enough to stay on the floor with the 7 or the 10. I go, so that's what I'm going to write about. I'm actually going to challenge you and be like, hey, come on. You got a shot at pulling off the unthinkable. And his eyes were kind of like, huh. And he literally asked me to tell the team that, okay, before they left to go to shoot around and what have you. He said, tell them how we're going to get our butt kicked. And I said, for what it's worth, only Coppin State, they were a 15 seed. They lost their second round game by a point. I go, the other 5 teams in your position all got blown out by more than 20.
Coppin State beat Kentucky when they won.
Oh, I don't know. It was a 15. I'll have to look that one up. It was a big boy, though.
Yeah, I know. It was for some reason, I thought it was Kentucky. I could be wrong.
But, and I remember, and Brett Comer, the point guard, okay, I talked for 40 seconds or whatever. And he basically looked at me and he said, well, you don't have to worry. Okay. We know we can win our next game. I'm like, okay.
So I don't know. I don't think there's a 15 or a 16 that's going to win. Hell, I don't know if a 14 or a 13 is going to win today. But, bracket down there didn't give Miami of Ohio much of a shot.
No, didn't. Thought they got
At
a bad
all.
draw. Yep, just a bad draw.
And, UCF also didn't give them a shot. I mean, David's talked about UCLA for a while, so it's not the first time we've heard it. But he didn't give – he said that's the most lopsided 7-10 game. 5.5's the number, and from the sounds of the way he was talking, he'd lay the 5.5 all day.
But it's the tournament. Then again, Georgia was playing really well and St. Louis wasn't. And the Billikens scored over 100 and won by 25.
So I do have, you know what, David? I do have 112 winning today. I didn't realize it. And now those chances are probably gone. And so do you. I think, didn't we both take Akron?
Oh,
or did you take Texas Tech?
No, you're right. No, okay, you are right. I did pick
So
Akron.
bet the house on Texas Tech if you're smart.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
That's the way. If I were you, that's the way I'd go, because Miller and Moulton did not have a good day when we agreed on upsets yesterday.
No, we both had South
VCU
Florida.
we got.
You're right. We got VCU, but we lost on South Florida.
Lost on St. Mary's, which wasn't an upset. Actually, A&M was the upset there, but it was a pretty close line.
So I think we're both on Santa Clara and both on Akron today.
Right.
Right. So obviously Kentucky and
and Texas Tech.
Yeah, are going to roll.
But the big one for me, Virginia in Wright State, first half under. That's the bet that matters. 1-1 yesterday in games under 70 first half that start before 2. There's one left.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies. For nearly 30 years is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm not flying right now, so I don't pay as close attention as I normally do 5 months out of the year. But my goodness, I don't I don't recall the lines like this previously. I mean, someone got to the Fort Lauderdale airport 5 hours in advance the other day and barely made their flight. I guess there are people taking to social media this morning saying they got to Hartsfield at 3 a.m. for their 6 a.m. flights and didn't make it. Whew. Yeah, Deadstruck, it doesn't. Fortunately, it's never stressed me out. And the last, 20 years I've had to do a lot
Thank
of
God
it.
you're not doing it the last few weeks.
I was just talking about it's staggering how bad things are out there.
My joint in Fort Myers, Uncle Rico's giving free pie to all TSA workers.
I mean, 5 hours? You got to get to an airport to be assured you're going to make your flight? That's unreal.
Yeah, how are they not ending that? That's just ridiculous.
Both sides suck so much.
Yes, they do.
So
it goes back to what
much.
you were yelling at Seth about yesterday. No one's willing to sacrifice anything for the greater good.
Nope. And not only that, congressmen and women get escorted around the lines and through security. It's another thing. I mean, they don't understand.
And they get free healthcare. So,
well, yeah, I mean, but how can they understand, what their constituents are going through if they don't have to wait in the same line? All they have to do is wait in the line one time, miss one flight back to DC or home. Be surprised how quickly things will get done.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. It's our final segment in Southwest Florida, Port Charlotte, Venice, Live Oak, Lake City. Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour. Live, Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and, many an app. If you live and are listening in a market where you can't get it on the radio, you can get it many other places. Do you think you spent a little bit of time, granted, it was a generation plus ago, but you spent a little bit of time in and around Tobacco Road. Did you watch, by the way? Because I know you were engrossed in the Wings' third period comeback against the Canadians. How much of the last 7 minutes of regulation did you see of Carolina VCU?
Well, the last 4 minutes and all of overtime as the comeback was happening, because I'm checking my phone constantly watching the Wings, and I'm like, this is now, not, I think it was 9 or 7, and I went, and I immediately switched back because I wanted to see it, and then watched the last few minutes of 3, 4, 5 minutes of regulation and all the overtime.
Did you question Hubert Davis at all? Were you thinking, I'd call a timeout here, or man, run a set play, get it to this guy? Okay, I'm just curious, as you were watching it unfold, okay, were you blaming the coach in any way? Because he is getting it this morning.
Well, it's hard for me to do that when I join a game like that. And you and I watch games differently. You watch as an analyst / coach, no matter what game you watch. You can watch tennis and you act like you're the swing coach for this guy. Okay, I got to go backwards here for a second. I get a text from David yesterday in the UC in the South Florida Louisville. And sometimes with streaming on YouTube TV, sometimes you're running about a minute behind the rest of the world. Right. And I thought I had all my settings set so that I'm running as close to what the actual game is. But I've noticed in watching a hockey game, if my phone will give me a score before a goal happens. So I have to really try to keep my phone down. But yesterday, I get a text. In fact, I'm going to read you the text. This text came from David yesterday. I want to read the text before I tell you when he sent the text. So I get a text from David that says South Florida needs to make some outside adjustments. And I look at the text and I read the text and I went, I replied, I said, you must be way ahead of me because it's 5-5 on my TV. To which David responds, the game is 5-5.
Yeah.
We've played 2 minutes of basketball, maybe 2 minutes and 26 seconds. There's like 17:34 left.
Yep.
First half, not second half.
Right.
First half.
5-5.
Again, South Florida needs to make some outside adjustments.
Yep.
And I said, it's 5-5 on my TV. Nope. They just had given up many open looks and offensive rebounds. We're lucky to only be down 5-0. So that's how David watches a game.
Yep.
I've always said, there are certain teams, mostly my teams, that I watch a little differently than games. The rest of the time, I try to watch as a fan. I like to try to let the game come to me. So when David is saying this about North Carolina, my guess is he's having a conversation with himself.
Yes.
Not only about the North Carolina coach, but about what adjustments he would make. Not only a set play, but which set play.
Right. It's a combination. I'm trying to subliminally help Hubert Davis, yet I'm also doing commentary on the game, with the national broadcasters. Yes, it's all in my head, too. I'm not saying it out loud.
Because no one's there to listen.
Exactly. So
no, David, because I know that North Carolina's best player's not playing. And I'm not familiar enough with the rest of that lineup, particularly when I'm kind of going back and forth and they haven't more than arm's length for most of the game. I think it wasn't a game.
So
with 6 minutes left, or with 6 minutes into the second half, it's not a game.
So they're up 19 6 minutes into the second half. They're up 18 with 13 minutes to go. They're up 13 with 7 and change to play. All right. They haven't put them away yet, obviously, but they're probably 2 good trips up and down the floor away from putting them away.
But VCU's pressure in full court. They're forcing North Carolina to hurry up, and North Carolina's not reacting. And David, having now watched it, there probably needed to be a timeout, if just to tell the team breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, not even say anything, David, to just simply tell the team, you know what, take a breath, guys. We know how to do this. Let's slow down. You're going too fast.
Yeah. Jerry McNamara took a timeout, I thought, a touch too late when Duke was making the late run to give themselves kind of an arm bar of Siena, because to me, I thought it was obvious his team was exhausted. Every single shot was short for 3 minutes. And obviously, they'd played the whole game. He had 5 scholarship players. He played them all every second until the final 10 seconds of the game. So, yeah, they're tired. And I thought sometimes in the tournament, I think a coach needs to take a tired timeout. My team's tired. Instead of, Mark, you got the 3.5 to 4 minute stretch in between media timeouts. Sometimes I think the coach needs to cut that in half and just go, you know what? I'm taking a timeout here. I know we're 90 seconds. We're going to get a media timeout. I don't know what to tell you. We're a little tired. I thought North Carolina needed a tired timeout because they only scored 5 points the last 6.5 minutes of the game. But also, secondly, Mark, their big fella was destroying VCU, destroying them. And he didn't get the ball for most of the stretch. And then when he did at the very end, okay, they just triple teamed him. But during the time that VCU was making the run, I thought the big fella didn't get the ball, and he was killing them.
And David, I'm sure you're right. And I don't even know, it's semantics to me, whether it's a tired timeout or a panic timeout.
Right.
But kind of when you said that, looking back, I'm watching VCU hurry North Carolina up. And because of that, David, you're right. When they finally got in the half court, they were still just running around.
Yeah.
North Carolina was playing at a pace faster than they needed to.
Correct.
And that's where a coach needs to call a timeout. And you're probably right. Get it to the big guy. But to me, it was simple enough as just, guys, calm down.
The other thing that I thought happened, they caught it on the national broadcast because luckily, they had the A team working Siena Duke. But Shire went zone. They were hitting everything, man to man. They were exploiting some mismatches, and they were shooting lights out. Shire went zone mid-second half. Made a big difference for Duke. And Duke doesn't play zone. But they did against Siena, and they needed to, and it changed the game. North Carolina never plays zone, ever. Mark, at the last 5-6 minutes, VCU had a guard that North Carolina couldn't guard. And they just ran ball screen after ball screen after ball screen and just waited till he got somebody that he's like, I can beat this guy off the dribble. And he did. And it bucket. And I thought to myself,
pull up bucket, drive to the basket bucket.
Bucket,
right. He was scoring every different way too, David. You're right.
And I just thought, I get it. You're a man-to-man team. North Carolina hasn't played zone defense in 60 years. I don't know what to tell you. You can't stop that guy with the ball.
Well, that's ego of coach. And I don't just mean Hubert Davis. I mean every coach out there that plays man-to-man. But here's Hubert Davis's comment after the game. Just because you miss a shot doesn't mean something's wrong. We had open looks. We had shots at the basket. We had executed plays. And we missed 8 free throws. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in. That's an excuse. That's not taking ownership of what happened. And that's why the North Carolina fans as angry today as they are, David.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, they're hot. And now they ain't going to get rid of them. But I think, Mark, he will begin next season on the quote-unquote hot seat. And if Mark Pope doesn't win today, they'll both be sitting on the same sofa. After all, this is North Carolina and Kentucky basketball. This is a BFD.
By the way, North Carolina in the final 15 minutes made 4 shots. 4. They turned it over more times than they made buckets. They missed more free throws than they did made buckets.
And Hubert's right about, like, there was an 87% guy who missed a free throw late. There was, he had like some 60-something% guys who the best they could do from the line was 1 out of 2. There's no doubt they missed a few free throws that percentage-wise you thought they would normally make, but they didn't get the ball to the big fella.
But when you're getting sped up, and you don't call a timeout, tired, panic, whatever the case may be, David, that's why turnovers happen. That's why shots are missed. That's why free throws are missed. At some point, David, you're right. A timeout needed to be called. And I think the other point that you really hit home on and could have drilled down on even more is that these coaches are so scared to use a timeout until the final 2 minutes of a game. It's ridiculous. They all rely on the damn media timeout to give their team a break. And by waiting too many times, you miss your chance. The game gets out of hand. They'll do it in the first half, David. It's amazing in the first half. If the game starts to slip, the coach will call a timeout. Yet in the second half, they're not using timeouts to me the way they did in the first half. We got to save it for the end of the game. Why? The clock stops after every bucket in the last 2 minutes.
I mean, I feel badly for Hubert Davis. Do I think upon further review he could have done 1 or 2 things to help his team? I do. But, I mean, the kids blew it more than Hubert Davis did. But this is what I feel badly for him, Mark. North Carolina's been playing basketball for a long time. They've been playing big-time basketball for a long time. They've only twice blown double-digit leads in the NCAA tournament. And both times have been under Hubert Davis in the last 3 years. Now, granted, one of them was against Kansas in the national championship game. But, it's just he's on the hot seat. I'm telling you, he's on the hot seat, and they got the money. And yeah, he's one of theirs, but you know what? Matt Doherty didn't work out, and they got rid of him as quickly as they could. I mean, it's North Carolina basketball. You got to win, and you got to win at a level that in the last couple of years, they ain't coming close to winning at.
No, they're not. In fact, David, it's so bad that Belichick could get fired midseason.
You sound like Tarkanian, that old line. Let me tell you, the NCAA is so mad at Kentucky that Cleveland State just got 2 more years of probation. Golly.
So where does the upset come from today? We put a lot of pressure on Kentucky. That means they'll probably win by 15.
I was going to say, though, when going away, they'll look great.
Miami and Missouri, if you plan on watching the game and you were up for our show this morning, I would advise you to take a nap at some point because it's not going to start until 10:30 tonight. It's not. 10:10 scheduled tip, 10:30 more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we could split the difference and go 10:20, but that game ain't ending before 12:30 a.m.
No, it's not. But a good day yesterday, actually a really good day. For as highly as Miller and Moulton have thought of the top 4 seeds, I thought yesterday delivered.
Yeah.
So Michigan was in a game at the half. Duke had to play the whole damn game to win.
Right. Absolutely.
The twos that played did pretty good. Houston whacked Idaho. They did.
Yeah.
But now we got 3 twos playing today. Which of them gets scared?
But Mark, your point even about Michigan, it's one thing that, Michigan Howard is a 4-point game at the half. Yeah, the score wasn't 30-26. The score was 50-46. I mean, they went up tempo, roll the balls out, let's play. And for 20 minutes, Howard played with them. I'm like, damn.
For the most part, Michigan's done a lot of that this year. You look at the number of games that they've had close first half against teams, and then in the second half, they just beat the snot out of them. They keep coming. They keep rebounding. They keep playing defense. It's why I picked them. David picked Arizona. I picked Michigan, both in Arizona in action today. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
EPA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, I think you got to go for the 1600, Adam. I know it's a huge shot, but 219, yeah. I don't think for you, you've been great. You've always donated us some money in the tips. And, I've seen you make some trips here and there and you talk about what you do. I don't think $219 is that big of a deal to you.
Yeah,
1600, however, to anybody is a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, I say roll the dice. Deadstruck, he's the leader in the clubhouse. That's for sure. He never should have been fired from Texas Arlington. It was a was winning 20 games every year. They haven't won 20 once since they fired him. Hodgson sounded like he's saying goodbye yesterday. Talked about South Florida. One sentence, it sounded like he was talking about him in the past tense. Providence. If I was South Florida, I'd hire Wes Miller. Cincinnati just let him go. He's a good coach. I did, Deadstruck. I did. 3 consecutive undefeated seasons.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. First day of spring. So we asked you, what's your favorite season? Pick one of the 4. There is no 5th choice. I have to admit, I feel very good about the question because I'm so tired of everybody answering and offering, their own choice. We put 4 cheeses up there and somebody goes, just whatever.
You forgot Munster.
Yeah, it's just like there's only room for 4 choices. These are the 4 we put up. Answer the question, don't answer the question, but don't give us an answer that's not part of the question. Don't do that. Because first off, it leads to our whole chat room going off on a tangent. So I feel good, Mark, that there are only 4 seasons that I'm aware of, and those are the 4 that we have in the question.
Now, David, someone did send a text to the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line and said his favorite season was smoked paprika, which I thought was hysterical. I have to admit that made me smile.
Yes.
As someone who likes to cook,
right.
I think that's funny. They didn't go garlic. They went smoked paprika. I thought that was
right.
Amusing.
But
tourist season. There's several others, but
I know. Yeah, sure.
You left them alone.
Yeah, right. But we went with the winter, spring, summer, fall. Sure, that's not good enough for many of you.
No, it's not. But the other question of what good/great team do you hate the most led to a lot of other answers. And I get it because I put Lakers as the 4th. And it's a little recency bias because our audience does not like the NBA. And our audience, by and large, does not like LeBron. And that's why I went with those. And the ESPN fatigue about talking about the Lakers ad nauseum every day. So I did go Lakers. There are a lot of other teams we could have gone, and a lot of you brought them up. Notre Dame and Ohio State seem to be the two getting the most votes that were not on the list. And probably should have put Ohio State on there because I'm convinced the entire SEC hates them. And I know the Big Ten's not that fond of them. So that could have been there. Notre Dame would have been another one that could have been there. Now, the other ones that have been brought up, UConn. There are a lot of people that don't like UConn. REM is a polarizing guy. They've been great. I mean, it's the only women's basketball team that most people know. I mean, I know South Carolina's come on. I know LSU's come on, but you know what I'm getting at here.
Well, how much of it do you think is Oriema, and how much of it are people maybe tired of Hurley's antics too?
Oh, there's no doubt. I happen to love Hurley because he's nuts.
Right.
Nuts.
Yes, he is. I thought he made contact with that official in the Marquette game. I thought he should have been suspended for the Big East tournament. He claims to this day he did not make contact with that official. I don't know. I've been in bed with people and not been that close to them that Hurley was with that official. I'm just saying.
Hello.
So that's all.
I'm going to give you something to think about, David, while I read a couple of texts from the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, because I didn't go here. But one of the national days it is today is ravioli. And a gentleman said, I'm just signing on. But if you like ravioli, what's your favorite ravioli? And I'll give you a second while I read a couple of texts, because I thought this was an interesting line that I think a lot of people would agree with. As I get older, I have realized I don't hate teams. I hate fan bases. And I think that's a fair comment. I think
Interesting.
You know, and it's chased by someone who says the Philadelphia Eagles don't like the fans either. The fact that a couple of you said winter's your favorite season, you must live in Florida. But this person did throw in not just UConn, UConn's women's basketball team.
Oh, got specific.
Yeah. So those are, we've got the Patriots, we've got Duke, we've got Alabama, we've got the Lakers. So those are your choices. And then your favorite season. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton. First off, are you a ravioli guy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you get the can and then you just take the spoon and you just, oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Big ravioli guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I mean, come on, you set yourself up. I mean, you had to know that.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
Okay, out of the can, better ravioli or SpaghettiOs?
Ravioli.
Ooh, I'd go SpaghettiOs there. But that's just me, because when you get that whatever that pseudo meat is in the ravioli in the can, that kind of makes me scared. It's somewhere between meat and dog food.
Right. Well, never mind, the fact that it's always possible that the expiration date was 2 years previous. Okay. But yes, no doubt. Okay. By the way, so I'm wooing my eventual wife, and we're doing the long distance thing. I'm 3 hours away, but you know me in the driving, that was no problem.
Right.
So I
leisurely drive.
Right. So I took a leisurely drive, and she's staying with her parents at the time. And so I'm sleeping downstairs on the couch. And I got up at 2, 3 in the morning, and I was a little hungry. And so I looked at the fridge and I said, I don't know. I don't want to leave dishes in the sink. That'd be too obvious. Let's see. Let's go through the cupboard. And there was Chef Boyardee stuff right there. Oh, wow. And you don't have to heat this stuff up. What, are you kidding me? This is fantastic. So my future mother-in-law came down in the morning, and she was dismayed. She saw the empty cans in the garbage. And I wake up and she's like, David, okay, first off, you could, we have much better stuff in the fridge. And I'm like, no, it was fine. And she goes, I didn't see any dishes. You didn't. And I went, oh, yeah, right out of the can. She's like, oh, no. Now, this is the minister's wife. She's like, oh, no, please. I mean, she didn't use the Lord's name in vain, but I could tell that she was thinking about it. She's like, oh, no, please, no. No, don't.
Wait a minute.
Don't
Wait
do
a
this
minute. I
ever
really
again.
have one question here because I understand where you're coming from. And, if I were in college and saw someone eat a can of SpaghettiOs late at night, I would get it. One, you're past college at this point. You're
I'm
a
late
working
20s.
adult.
Yeah, I'm late 20s.
Late 20s.
Late 20s.
Holy blank.
28-ish. Yes.
I have two questions. One, because you didn't want to use dishes, which means you didn't want to make a lot of noise. I get it. Did you use a hand can opener or did you use the electric one? Because that makes a little bit of noise.
Hand.
That's
Hand.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And the key question about this whole story, David, is I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when you told that story, when your mother-in-law got up in the morning, she saw cans.
Oh, yeah, there were two.
Plural.
Correct.
One wasn't enough.
No.
You finished it and said, "Ooh, there's two of these.
Right.
I'll open a second."
Correct. I mean, seriously, one can? I mean, does that really suffice?
At 2 a.m, one would think it would because I know you've never done drugs.
Oh, but no, not even at 2, 3 in the morning. No way. Come on, it's not enough food. Give me a break. Mark, I'm 28 years old. I mean, you think I ate a lot in my 40s and 50s. Just imagine me at 28. Yeah, that's how she reacted. At that moment, I think she started to really question the relationship. Like I think she was on board. She was kind of like, that this guy could hang around for a while. And then I think that made her very concerned.
I guess this would only be a question for her, unfortunately. Do we know if she told either her husband or your now wife about your late night eating, or did she keep it to herself?
Oh no, she was flummoxed by it. No, she definitely told my now wife. Okay, because she came up to me. She said, we do use bowls here and utensils, and it is okay to heat it. We have a microwave, and I said, no, it was fine. Okay, and she's like, yeah, next time heat it up.
I will say at that point, the microwave industry was not as quiet as microwaves now. I remember, and this is a little later, but I do remember I was in grade school and my mother, some promotion where she worked, they had microwaves and my mother brought home a mic. It was our first microwave and I was 10, 11 years old. So this is late 70s, early 80s. And it sounded like a 747 was landing in the kitchen.
Thank you. The microwave I had in college, it sounded like a plane was taking off. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. And because, people thought, and if you're young, you don't get this, but if you're 50 or older, I think you understand this, maybe even 45 or older. You understand, one, how loud microwaves were. And when they came into the home, if you did, like my house, we did not have a microwave until around 1980, 81, somewhere in there. My mother, who worked every day, and my father worked. So I was a latchkey kid. So mom came home and would cook dinner. My mom didn't get home until around 5:30. My dad got home much earlier. They thought, parents, the mothers especially, that the microwave was going to replace every single pot and pan in your house initially, that you could do everything in it. And my mother decided to make a meatloaf in the microwave, not in the oven. And I'm pretty sure that at my neighbor's house, Doug Gillis, who had the 10-foot high glass backboard, the only one maybe in the city because his dad was a basketball coach, I'm quite certain that I could have taken that meatloaf and bounced it off the cement and played basketball. It was the worst. And my mom's a terrific cook. She still to this day is an amazing cook. I love my mother's food. She's good at it. She truly is. It's the worst thing she ever made. Not only did we not eat the meatloaf and then go out to dinner, my dad insisted that day that the microwave was gone. We did not have a microwave again until we moved when I was in high school. But so I can back you on the sheer value of the microwave. I can actually say you would have been better off getting a pan, heating it up on the stove than taking the chance at 2 a.m. of firing up a microwave oven. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think that's why the first I think that Nance is doing the Masters for a while. This isn't his last one. What he wants to do, what, the 75th or whatever? Is that what it is, David?
No, Schwartz will win the 75th. He wants to do the 100th.
The 100th, that's what it is.
Which is 2036, I believe. Because 2011 was the 75th. So.
Oh, stove up meatloaf's amazing. Don't kid yourself. Meatloaf's wonderful, and I'm a food snob. Meatloaf's great. But I think the whole microwave, I never had a mic. That's why the first thing I learned how to cook was a grilled cheese sandwich, and I'd make my Campbell's tomato soup. Didn't need anybody in the house to do that. No, you can't cook any meal in a microwave. Even to this day, stove up, you cannot use the microwave as a cooking device. It's there to warm up. And in my house, it's basically there to warm up coffee. I'd take it out of my house if I could. My wife won't let me. If I ever redo my kitchen, it's just not going to be part of it. There's going to be a hood there and the microwave's going to disappear. And they're all going to go, what happened? I'm like, what happened to what? Although I will say there was a couple of those blonde butterscotch brownies left, and my wife just brought me one that she warmed up, and I know she warmed up in the microwave. So much better a little warmed up. No, he didn't throw it away. He told her to get rid of it. She gave it to someone. This was 1981, stove up. I mean, let's pump the brakes a little bit. And it was the noise. It wasn't what it did. It was so loud. Well, quite frankly, stove up, no, you weren't there because you didn't know Fred, okay? I mean, this is the guy that smashed a yogurt over someone's head in a Publix line because they had too many items. You got to understand, I grew up a little differently than most. Aurora, have you seen today's poll question? It's all based on your school. What good/great team do you hate the most? David wouldn't let me put Duke down 4 times. That's all right. The Aldi's here does not have a self-checkout, and they literally maybe will have 2 people working. And someone was smart enough, and it wasn't me. There was someone in line, and they let the aisle, and then they were in the crosswalk through, and they were in the aisle. And I got in line. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Were you in line to this woman?" We had 2 items. And she said, "Yes, I was." She had a full cart, a full grocery cart, and had no remorse. Didn't give us the old, "Hey, you only got 2 things. Go ahead." Nope. I love self-checkout. I really do. Use it all the time. It's faster. Better? Interesting. Their sausage stuff's just fine. I mean, I do love the Publix Italian sausage, but the Aldi stuff is not bad. And for the price, it's way better. It's ridiculous right now what the prices are for like ground beef and crap. It's unbelievable. $7-8 for a pound of ground beef. That's insane.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when some final thoughts, an upset or two. We'll make our picks coming up. Couple of quick hitters. You ready?
Sure.
Mentioned both in the starting 5. Haven't gotten back to either since. Your thoughts on 10.8 million people watching USA Venezuela Tuesday night on Fox while the NCAA tournament is going on. Granted, it's on True TV and it's the first 4 and what have you, but 10.8 million watching USA Venezuela Tuesday night on Big Fox. The NBA Finals, a 7-game series last year, averaged 10.2 million viewers. This did 600,000 more for a single baseball game on a Tuesday night in March. Your thoughts?
Well, first off, David, we wrap ourselves around the flag. When it's USA, we watch. It doesn't matter what the sport is. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I don't think there was 1 million people watching the first 4 games on True TV. So I don't even know if that counts in this. But what I think is interesting is how many more people would watch in July. That's really where my head goes. Are you right on this? And I don't know if you are. I mean, that's a huge number. That's a number where the people that run the World Baseball Classic are going to tell one another we're doing this right.
Mark, first off, that's the home run derby and the All-Star game combined. All right. In terms of a regular season baseball game, no way. No way. I mean, Sunday Night Baseball does 1.8 million on average. 2.5 million was their number 1 rated game last year. If Fox has a good Sunday night game, it's 4 million. I mean, this is 10.8 million. You got to go to maybe a league championship series, maybe the right division series. Yankees probably got to be involved. Okay, Cubs, Dodgers, but
Well,
you
what did,
might have
what
to
did
go
that
to
Seattle-Detroit game do? Because you and I were both stunned at how well it did.
yes, and it did. It did this type of number.
Right.
And obviously it was late at night. It went till, it was like 10 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. And we were shocked by it. Okay, shocked. And that was just a division. It was the deciding game of a division series, but it was a division series, and it was Seattle and Detroit.
But this is USA Venezuela with, I know he's a Met, but a no-name pitcher throwing for the USA. Yeah, the big names played. The game, while close, I don't know how exciting it was because there weren't a lot of hits. It's the new wave of baseball. There's a lot of strikeouts,
right?
Not a lot of action.
Game moved,
but there's no pitch clock, and it didn't go quickly either, if you know what I mean. It was not what an MLB game is today.
So I just, 10.8 for USA Venezuela. Now, granted, you can't compare the numbers from 3 years before when it was USA Japan. That game was on FS1. And for the record, it did half the numbers. But Fox to FS1, we talk all the time about the TGL, their numbers on ESPN versus ESPN2, literally double the numbers on same product. Okay, double the numbers on ESPN as opposed to being on ESPN2. But I'm just wondering about the future of baseball, that type of number. And of course, what are we going to do in 7 months? We're going to shut the sport down. But
I will say this, David. I think this has to make Manfred, who wants it, and the players who want it have an edge on getting baseball in the Olympics. I would think that this number, and combine that if someone in the room's going, have you seen what hockey did after their Olympics?
Yeah.
Have you seen the jump in ratings? Yeah, I know it's going to suck to shut our season down for a couple of weeks, but did you see what hockey did? Could you imagine what we will do? So I do think it helps your cause for the Olympics, but if somehow that doesn't get done and they don't get the Olympics, I don't ever see the World Baseball Classic moving its time in the year of playing it because they're going to think they won with those numbers, David.
Something to keep in mind, NBC, who has the rights to the Olympics, is back in the baseball business. They're airing Sunday Night Baseball. So they have a vested interest in the future of the sport being good. So
good call. Yep,
NBC is totally on board with the players and Manfred, and they carry a big voice with the IOC. And here's what I think you'll get, Mark. I don't know how much primetime baseball you'll get because, after all, we got gymnastics. And let's just, come on now. USA Venezuela is one thing. The Olympics do 25 million on a Tuesday night in July or August.
And
so
40-year-old Simone Biles will get better ratings.
Right. But could it get a really good mid to late afternoon time slot? If you know what I mean. Could it be what leads into primetime gymnastics? Games are in LA. Another possibility. Do you do gymnastics early in the prime time and start the baseball game, at 10 Eastern and then run it? Because it's only 7 o'clock out there. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there, what the possibilities are,
Well, they got to get it in first, and they're running out of time.
Right.
That's the other problem with this.
The second thing, and we mentioned it in the starting five, but didn't spend any time on it. On a scale of 1 to 10 of the surprise factor, 10 being very, very surprised, the Vikings re-signing Carson Wentz yesterday after having acquired Kyler Murray. So now their quarterback room is Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy. How surprised were you? Okay, they bring in Kyler Murray, but they also then double down on a veteran quarterback and bring in Wentz?
It's only a 5-6 because the guy that drafted J.J. McCarthy's where, David?
Unemployed.
Thank you. That's the only reason if he were still there, would honestly be a 9. But the fact that they've already gassed the GM who drafted this guy brings the surprise level down to a 5-6 for me.
Okay, here's my question. Who do they promise the starting job to? Murray or Wentz?
Murray.
I think so also, which then begs the question, if you're Wentz, now I know he's a North Dakota kid and he dreamed of playing for the Vikings, and he said so last year when he signed with them. But, I mean, of the backup quarterback gigs out there, you chose Minnesota? And by the way, are you sure you're going to be number 2? I mean, they just take J.J. McCarthy and make him inactive on game days?
I think so, David. I actually think so. I was texting with a buddy about it yesterday. That's what I said. I think J.J. McCarthy's the 3. And because he's on a rookie deal, they're not getting rid of him because, financially it doesn't make any sense to. But maybe it's even working with the Wentz. Maybe it's just being in a room. Because I have to be honest, if you're trying to groom J.J. McCarthy and at some point you want him to be the starter, the work ethic of Kyler Murray throughout history hasn't shown me that it's very good. So I might need a pro in the room to help J.J. McCarthy, and I think Carson Wentz is that guy.
I'm surprised that Wentz did it. I'm surprised that Wentz, and maybe it's because of location. I don't know. Maybe it's because of those wide receivers. And he's like, man, if I had stayed healthy last year, But I was surprised that Wentz agreed to enter that quarterback room. I would have thought there's a few off the top of my head that he would have said, oh, no, I'd much rather be here or here or here.
And the only thing I would say, finally, we talked about it, the starting 5, and you said it, David. Tampa, you still think is the best team in the East and built for the playoffs. It helps playing a couple of bad teams, but they've whipped up out west on a couple of bad teams. They've got Edmonton tomorrow. 4-game road swing out west. They're better than everybody they play. Kucherov now with 4 goals and 4 assists, I believe, in the 2 games. He's passed McKinnon in points. He's behind only McDavid now for the league lead in points. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Next, Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
F the Blue Jackets. Sorry, I can't help myself. Mr. Sveck or Mrs. Beck, whichever one it is. I need my Red Wings to make the playoffs. I do not need your damn you know who else doesn't need it? The National Hockey League. I would argue the Columbus Blue Jackets are one of the more irrelevant franchises in all of sports. Very limited fan base. And I know they love them in Columbus. I get it. But outside of Columbus, I don't think they care in Cleveland. I don't think they care in Cincinnati. I just think that's a largely over who? The Islanders? Possibly. We'll see. I like you going all cat. I'm not saying they're not popular in Columbus. That you're not listening. I know they do just fine in Columbus. What I'm saying is they're like the Sacramento Kings. Nobody nationally is talking about them ever. Very manageable schedule, but you got a couple with the Hurricanes. They're better than you. You got the Sabres. You got the Wings once. We'll see. Obviously, they've done well. I mean, but you know, think about it. When they upset Tampa in the playoffs, that was bad for the NHL. Tampa's a team that people know. It's like, I think if you polled the average sports fan and said, what's the Columbus NHL franchise's name? I wonder how many people would be able to answer it. And trust me, the NHL would rather have the Islanders in than you.
And first off, I love Columbus. I could live in Columbus yesterday. I like Columbus a lot as a city. Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, that's a good call.
I mean, no, Calgary Flames. I mean, if Gary Bettman had to rank the 32 teams, I think Columbus would come in like 29th, 30th.
I think Calgary would be ahead of them, David, because they have history. I mean, they do.
But I mean, and it hurts also Columbus because then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then networks don't televise them, and it just continues the obscurity nationally.
I'd put Winnipeg behind them.
I would.
But if you were to take the Canadian franchises out, Anaheim, Columbus. Now, the Florida Panthers were on that list until 3 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, right. The NHL would choose Anaheim.
I mean, I guess the name, but I mean.
Well, technically the possibility of the market. They would want the sport talked about in Southern California.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Columbus a lot. Could live there in a heartbeat.
I had a great weekend in Columbus.
Love the downtown. Love it. Ballpark, arena, restaurants, walking. Love it.
Yeah, you're still in Ohio, David. I mean, let's face it.
I have no problem.
You know where all Ohio people go to vacation in the summer? Michigan. They don't have a lake house in Ohio.
I know. I would head south, but that's,
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done for the day and for the week. Hope you've had a good one. Thanks for spending part of it with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Couple of poll questions. We always encourage you to vote. By the way, did Duke end up winning yesterday in terms of, and by the way, while the poll question, we thought we were safe. Okay, having the poll question be, which one's going to get bounced first, thinking, well, it's not going to happen in the first round. But so take part in our poll questions. We always appreciate it. If you miss any part of the show, like we had Neil Blackmon and Bracket Dom on earlier talking hoop, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed.
All right, time to get after it, huh? That's what you're telling me. I could tell by that tone. Get to work, damn it.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I really wasn't thinking, damn it, but and ladies and gentlemen, remember he's in a great mood today. His wife's with him. The Wings won last night. Okay, they're nationally televised tomorrow night. Duke nearly lost. I mean, he's in a great mood, and he's still damn it in there.
I am, but one of the people in the chat room just said something that honked me off, and I wasn't done answering him yet. So that's on me. It's not your problem.
So
someone literally just compared Columbus, Ohio, in size to Auburn, Alabama. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Auburn, Alabama has a stoplight. Columbus has a pro team. It's the capital of the state of Ohio. It's a huge city. Like it's just come on. You could not like Ohio State, but at least understand that well. You just mentioned Auburn, Alabama as the same as Columbus, Ohio. It's the most laughable thing I've ever seen in my life.
So now I understand the damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't really at you.
No, but that's okay. You used it to complete your thought was in your head, and you just used it to complete your thought. All right.
We start in 1774 when those damn Brits. It's another damn it, David. The British Parliament passes the first of the intolerable acts, the Boston Port Act, which closed the harbor until colonists would pay for damages following the Tea Party. How'd that work out for you, huh? UK? Kick your ass. Uncle Tom's Cabin, published today in 1852. In 1854, anti-slavery activists within the Whig Party opposed the Kansas-Nebraska Act and formed the Republican Party. Lincoln, Rutherford B. Hayes, Chester A. Arthur, and Benjamin Harrison, all part of that. The big WIP in Philadelphia began radio transmissions today in 1922. Today in 1930, a big day for all of us that like to eat. The Colonel opened Sanders Court and Cafe. It would become Kentucky Fried Chicken. MacArthur vows, I came through and I shall return in 1942 after escaping Japanese occupied Philippines. LBJ signs a bill removing gold backing from U.S. paper money today in 68. That was a smart move. Lennon and Yoko got married in Spain today in 1969. The song, The Ballad of John and Yoko, describes their ordeal in finding a location for the nuptials. I don't think people realize how big this song was. 82, number one song in the land, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I love rock and roll.
Huge.
It was a monster.
Plus MTV helped it.
82?
Yeah, MTV started in 81.
Okay, all right. Because I was still calling my cable company, yelling at them that I want
my MTV.
Exactly, in my best Billy Idol voice. Major League Baseball announced that Pete Rose is under investigation today at 89.
Huh, what for?
2016, Obama becomes the first president to visit Cuba since 1928. And today in 2020, Tom Brady agrees to come to Tampa Bay.
Oh, this is a big day.
All right. Jack Barry. You may not know him by name, but when I tell you what he did, David, it's why he makes this segment. He really shouldn't. But David, Jack Barry was the MC of the Joker's Wild.
Oh.
Carl Reiner, Fred Rogers, Jerry Reed, and William Hurt would have all celebrated birthdays today. Hal Linden's still alive. He's 95.
That's awesome.
Pat Riley's 81. Bobby Orr, number 4, 78. Spike Lee is 69. The wrestler Sting is 67. And Jahmyr Gibbs is 24. What did I miss, David?
Nah, I don't think you missed anything. Speaking of wrestling, did you see Rodman is going in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Wow. Wow.
Now, I mean, he did infamously back in the day miss a Chicago Bulls practice during the NBA Finals to take part in a wrestling card with Hulk Hogan. Could you imagine? Could you imagine 30 years later? I think that was like 97, was during their second three-peat. Think about that today. Today, with the social media and the media that we have and how much the national media loves to talk about the association. Pick a player. Pick a Hall of Fame, prominent, big-name player. Kevin Durant misses practice in the NBA Finals to participate in a WWE event. Go.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we start today with something that I think is going to make you happy, David.
Okay.
Our good is cursive writing. It's making a comeback. They don't teach it in schools anymore, but it's now being questioned if it should re-enter curriculums. It was cut in 2010 for the Common Core standards because we wanted people to not only be illiterate, we didn't want them to be able to write. Thank goodness we got new math out of the deal. Should cursive be taught in elementary school, in your opinion, David? Or are we past that with computers and everybody typing? I mean, you're writing checks during the show. I'm going to someone that I think's a solid source on this material.
Yes, because there are still official documents that ask you to print your name and then sign your name. So until that gets removed from official documents and important documents, then yes, Mark, I think you have to teach it.
For the bad, this is an interesting one. A man tried to rob 6 New York banks in 5 days. Gustavo Torres began his crime spree late last week when he walked into a Chase branch and handed the teller a note saying people would get hurt if they did not hand over money. He robbed 6 banks in 5 days. The total sum of money that he was able to steal, less than you'd make on the Joker's Wild. $605.
Wow.
Correct.
Why even bother?
Right. You're going to go to jail for a long time for $605. And finally, the ugly. We go to Lee County in Florida, where a 13-year-old boy has not been raised right. He's accused of choking his family's dog and then taking a knife and slashing at his brother. I blame mom and dad, but it's the 13-year-old that's going to need some therapy. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, March the 20th. It's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great jobs. Not just police officers, but other jobs. But police officers get a $10,000 signing bonus. Great pay, overtime. So if you're looking to move to the Cape and be a cop, I say cop because that's where you got to go. CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
Could be making $100,000 to start as a cop in Cape Coral. All right. We have really good, sexy early games. The Florida teams are all playing tonight. The Gators are playing at 9:30. UCF's scheduled to play at 7:30. Miami's scheduled at 10:10. I mean, so the night session is the Florida teams. But during the day, first game of the day, Santa Clara, Kentucky.
I'm in.
Right. Okay.
I'm in.
Second game of the day, Akron, Texas Tech. Then mid-afternoon, Miami of Ohio. Does the run continue? 32-1 Redhawks. They just beat an ACC team. Now they take on an SEC team in Tennessee. So sexy afternoon. Also, Nova, Utah State.
8-9 game there.
Right. In which I think, is it Utah the 9?
They are.
And the 9s went 2-0 in the 8-9 games yesterday.
Ooh. Probably says play the 8s.
I know, you figure one of them will win today.
Right.
But so, St. John's in Kansas tonight, Patino and Self coaching. By the way, whispers that Bill Self's going to retire. He does have heart issues. I mean,
it's been a rough year for him from a health standpoint. I mean, he's missed a bunch of games, missed some time at practice and things like that. So it wouldn't be a shocker.
No. But man, tough to. I mean, it's of all the jobs in the country, how tough is it to walk away from the Kansas job?
No, I've got you. But
I mean, don't you need a doctor? And I'm sorry to be so blunt. Don't you need a doctor to say, if you keep doing this, you're going to die? And I mean, and that's where you go, do you think I'm going to die, or are you positive I'm going to die?
I mean, you got Patino and Izzo that are still coaching. The guy who's won the most NCAA tournament games that's active is Bill Self.
Yeah, I mean,
Hurley, and I know he's been not around as long, but I mean, think about that. The guy in this tournament, the coach that's won the most games is Bill Self.
Yeah, and think about
it. Patino's coaching, just for what it's worth.
And Izzo and Calipari.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, legendary coach at a blue blood program.
You got that right.
But
and that's all they care about. You get all the money there. They could give a damn about the football team.
My favorite stories are the ones the governor of the state has to ask Bill Self if he can borrow the plane. It's the governor's plane. If he can borrow the plane to use it for official state business. Because official state business, Kansas basketball, ball is more important.
A bunch of NBA games tonight. If you care, I would say the best ones, believe it or not, Atlanta at Houston. Atlanta's been playing great. Houston's been scuffling a little bit. That's a pretty good game.
Hawks 11 in a row, and now they're the 6th seed in the East. Orlando and Miami battling the Hawks for playoff spot versus play-in spot. Mark, only 5 games in the NHL, and the best game is probably Anaheim, Utah.
But it's the only one that matters.
Right, to both teams.
Right.
There are other games where it matters to one, but not both. The Panthers are in action tonight. They continue on the West Coast against Calgary.
Now, tomorrow, a bunch of good hockey games. Yes. A bunch. Dallas and Minnesota, Buffalo and the Kings. I mean, even Vegas and Nashville. Nashville's fighting for a spot. Detroit and Boston. I mean, tomorrow's terrific.
Yes.
It really is. Today, not so much.
I will be very curious. It is going up against the NCAA tournament. But tomorrow night is 2 Original 6 franchises in prime time on network television. Hockey's had a big post-Olympics ratings bump. Bruins, Red Wings, 8 o'clock ABC tomorrow night.
Good luck against the tournament.
I understand.
And it's going to look good, too. Now, I know, like the Wings last night wore the anniversary jerseys of the season against Montreal. It looks spectacular because the Habs look good when they play. Boston and Detroit, Original 6, they'll look good. But good luck against the tourney, David. Good luck.
They'll be going up against VCU, Illinois, Vandy, Nebraska, High Point, Arkansas. They can compete against that.
Yeah, they can. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back to see what happened and who the Sweet 16 is on Monday.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
PA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thank you, Rick. Have a good weekend, my friend.